Peace, everybody. Welcome. I'm live on YouTube right now. I'm not live on TikTok yet. Making sure the stream's working correctly. Oh, all right. Okay. So it's definitely been an interesting set of days. A good set of days. What's up, YouTube? Can you guys hear me well? Peace. Salam. Hilal. Anarchy. Cyrus. Something Wong. What's up? Salam, guys. Nice to see everybody. Can you guys hear me well? Can you see me okay? God willing? Cool. All right, I'm about to go live on TikTok as well, so that we can get this show started, God willing. Is the Quran perfect? Michael, I treat you with respect, and then you say some really rude stuff every time you come around. Pow. Here we go. The Quran is sufficient. 720. I'm going to change the video bit rates. Let me change this. Instead of software codecs, let's go with the NVIDIA hardcore codec as well. There we go. And then, okay, that works. Boom. Cool. Let's go. Going live. Last time you insulted the blessed prophet. So, what's up, TikTok? It's nice to see everybody. Peace. Oh, yeah. Peace. Yeah, the Dawah guys are just truly interesting individuals when it comes down to talking about the truth. And unfortunately, some people just don't know what the basis of Islam is, which is, treating each other with kindness is the first step. Even with your enemies, you're supposed to walk with your enemies, in a way that is inviting to the truth. But unfortunately, it's not the case with Sunnis. It's a cult, and that's what happens. So yeah, these individuals that when you try to show them what the Quran states, they have a problem. They have a significant problem in understanding why you believe what you believe. Because to them, it doesn't matter what the Quran states. Now, with the case with Dawah-wise, there were so many arguments that could have been said there, but he just doesn't let you speak, Hashim. So Abraham said to the messenger, Salam. Does that mean he said it in Arabic, or did he say it in his language? And even if I did say Salamu Alaikum, the Quran states to return the Salam. Say Salam back if someone says Salam. But he wouldn't say peace to me because his hadith tells him not to say Salam to people who don't believe what they believe. So unfortunately, there was so many ways to strap this individual, but he's just not. There is a full video, and it's posted on their channel. I'm gonna bring it, do what I gotta do, and put it on my channel because it was an interesting discussion until they got caught. The definition of a Sunni is an individual who adheres to what he assumes that Sunnat al-Rasul, the tradition of the messenger, of the prophet, the blessed prophet Muhammad. They believe that they're following his teachings, but in reality, when you look at it, they're not, because there's so much issues with what's going on with the hadith books that it negates the Quran. In fact, it lowers from the quality of the Quran, and it gives a lot of interpretations that are not accurate. So no, the Quran is standalone, good enough. Yeah, they want to call me a kafir, yet they cannot justify their positions. They cannot justify their religion in what they preach. Because unfortunately, we could see things that are completely contradictory to the Quran. And it seems like they're always testing the Quran. So when God states that there's a verse that's negating all certainties, there's always a hadith to show that, hey, maybe there's an exception. So for example, there's a verse where God states that you cannot make the dead hear, that you cannot communicate with the dead. And there's a hadith where the prophet is talking with the dead. He's telling the dead, he's ordering the dead, he's informing the dead of what they used to do. There's a verse where God states that you're not going to rescue anybody from hell. There's a hadith where the prophet walks in hell and he's rescuing people out of hell. So again, it negates the Quran. Hashim was like a child. Peace, Abu Sulaiman. And there's also hadith where they say the throne of the devil is on water, when God states that his throne is on water. So they're associating things that are for God now to the devil. There are many hadiths which they wholeheartedly put Prophet Muhammad in a way where he is actually not a good person. So for example, if God states in the Quran that if he made up lies or he made up things about us, like the Prophet, that we would have ripped his aorta out of his throat. We would have killed him. And the way that the Prophet, when he was dying in the hadith, he's saying to Aisha, I feel like my aorta is being ripped out of my throat, which is indicating that he could have possibly lied. And this is where these things are redacted and they are thrown to the wall as falsehood, and they say that it's sahih. I recently had a discussion with a gentleman by the name of Leafy, Farid Response, and Hashim from Dawah Wise, and a few other individuals, where they were trying to show that, hey, there's some academics that say that some of the narrations, they can be traced back to Aisha. Some maybe to the Prophet. But using the historical critical method and the way that Western academia works, they are not giving the full authority the same way that Sunnis give authorities to the hadith. But there is one that traces back to Aisha, which they wanted to bring up, where Aisha states that there was a time where they say that 10 sucklings would make a woman forbidden to a person for marriage. And then later that got abrogated to 5. But they don't realize that hadith, which the Westerns say that there is some, it could be prophetic. It states in that hadith, in the Sahih version, the one that they say is authentic and Muslim, it states that they were still reciting the verse while the Prophet has already passed away. So now that hadith that they say is Sahih, which Western academia also can give it some credence, not all the academics, but some of them, this hadith is problematic because it shows that there's a verse of the Quran missing. But when you present that information to these individuals that want to sit and actually discuss this material, they run away from it. They say, oh, there's different narrations. Well, okay, but the Quran is verbatim, but your hadith isn't. And they agree that the hadith is not verbatim the word of the blessed messenger. So why are you going with probabilistic? Like, why are you going with things that are probabilistic in nature? Yet you have the verbatim word. You're just becoming literally just like the Jews and the Christians. You're going with a book which is not accurate. Opinions on Rashad Khalifa. Code 19 has some merit, but Rashad Khalifa is not a messenger. Ladies and gentlemen, the multi-guest is open for individuals that want to show up and tell me why Sunnis and Shia is Islam. And I would like you to leave the airways open for the Sunnis and the Shias, my brothers who do accept the Quran as the only source of authority for anyone that wants to follow the blessed Prophet Muhammad. Please just, we have discussions on Friday where I'll open the airways for us to discuss what you guys want if you have any questions. So let these individuals come and cry. As soon as you came up to Hashim's devil's horns came up as well. True. Very clear hate in his eyes. It's very true. Unlike if the other side was Jew or Christian or Hindu. So much hate for Quran followers. That's what God tells us in the book that they would do. So they are proving that the Quran is truth. God states in the Quran that you will hear much abuse from those that were given the book from before you and from the polytheists or the idolaters. But if you're patient, then they can't really hurt you. They can't really change a thing. So let's go, Ahmed. Can you hear me, Ahmed?
Salam.
Salam.
Hello?
How you doing? Peace.
Yeah, I've actually, let me go close my door. Sorry.
Why are you closing the door? Are you a Sunni or a Shia?
Well, I've actually been following your YouTube for quite some time now. I've been watching your videos, and honestly, you make some valid points. So yeah,
I'm glad that you think so, because unfortunately we grew up just accepting what people are telling us, but when we start to look at the sources, we realize that they're full of lies. And the only thing that they're trying to do is fulfill what the devil wanted us to do in the first place, which is to leave God and complicate life and to rely on something other than God.
Yeah, I really liked your point on like how the Jews, you know, they took their Talmud and the Christians, they took their
Letters of
um,
Paul.
letters of Paul, the 13 new books of New Testament as authority instead of listening to the actual followers and the actual prophets of these people. And that's the same thing with what the Sunnis do. They take the followers, the companions, the Sahaba, instead of what the prophet actually preached.
Yes, and the deeper thing is that even if you explore the gospel and whatever is left of the gospel, one of the things that Jesus was trying to express to his people is that you're taking the traditions over the word of God, and you're giving
Yeah.
credences to tradition, and you are neglecting the word of God, which is what literally the Sunnis do. The Sunnis, to me, the way that they present a religion, it's very like how the Pharisees are presented in the Gospels, and they think that they have authority because they believe that they're guided. Yet their characters and the way that they talk and the way that they present the information, it comes from a state of arrogance where there is no room of discussion. You just eat the bugs that we're feeding you, and if they don't taste good, then you're the disbeliever. You're the problem.
Okay, well, so I am a Shia, and I base, I guess, my belief upon two things. Have you heard of the Shia book, the Nejul Balaga by Imam Ali?
No. I
It's a
heard the
bunch of
book, but I haven't read it.
yeah, it's a bunch of sermons compiled by Imam Ali at his time, and I've read that book, and I just think that there's just no way that a person who wasn't inspired by God wrote this. And
There's
also,
So you're negating it or you're agreeing with it?
I agree with it. Also,
Is it is it is it necessary for somebody to find their God?
no, it's not.
Okay.
The Quran is for the guidance of all of humanity. I also, in Surah chapter 42, verse 23, it talks about the prophet, and basically, I guess the context of this ayah is that people are asking the prophet, how do we give like reward to you? How can we, you know, I don't know. I guess do good for the prophet, and then Allah says, "Qul, say, O prophet, I do not ask you for a reward for this message, only honor for our kinship."
Your relatives, correct.
Yeah, and this is the prophet. He's saying, "Qul," it's his family. It's saying, I do not ask you for a reward for this message, only honor for my family,
It doesn't say my family.
our kinship, which is
It says fil qurba. It doesn't say fi qurbati. It doesn't say my kinship. It says in your kinship. So God, many times in the Quran, where He tells you the first people that you need to actually give charity or to take care of, your first priority after God and His messenger is your parents. And then the people below that are your relatives. So God states here in the Arabic, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَةِ. I'm not asking you wage except compassion in the relatives, not my relatives. Al-qurba would be your relatives, anyone who's close to you. Because my qurba is not your qurba. So why wouldn't He clarify that says qurbati? And at that point, it would be accurate. But the Quran being as clear and precise with its technical language, God is prioritizing your qurba, which would include your parents and your relatives.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess that's all. I do. Yeah, I do agree with your position.
I
That's what the
appreciate it.
Quran
And
states.
we tend to find, you see, this is what's beautiful about the Quran. The Quran states that it's an example for all things. So God is giving us the highest examples of what we're going to find in our worldly life. Now, the Sunnis, to me, are akin to the Jews, of how God explains the Jews and how the Jews react to believers. This is how I constantly keep finding the Sunnis, the ones that think that they're learned and they want to argue and debate against the book of God. But when it comes down to Shias, the Shias have more tactics that are very similar to the Christians. And God states that you will find the closest in compassion are the ones who are calling themselves Christians. That is because they're not arrogant. And as a Quran alone believer, I find that people who are more compassionate to our position are the Shias. While the people who are most antagonistic, or the people who are always trying to go head to head with us, are the Sunnis, and it's God. That's what God says about the Jews, right? So it's something that we constantly keep seeing how the Quran is explaining itself, that we see in our day to day, but the characters and the names has changed. That's all.
I also do have another question now that I'm remembering.
Mhm.
It's about the different qiraat of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The different
It's not different qira'ats of Prophet Muhammad. There's one qira'ah of Prophet Muhammad that is no longer being read. Because during the time of the Prophet, they used to speak in a dialect called the Old Hijazi dialect. The
Yeah.
Old Hijazi dialect was extinct by the 7th century, late in the 7th century. So at that point, the Quran has made its way up to the Levant area, and those dialects started to take over because those dialects were a little bit more detailed. So the actual Arabic evolved, but the Quran stayed preserved in that evolution. So there's a few letters, or one key letter that is present in the Levantian Arabic, which was not present in Old Hijazi, in the Old Hijazi dialect, which was the Hamza. So for example, we have the word sa'ala. But if you look at the Old Hijazi dialect, it was sala. It wasn't sa'ala. So this is something that the historians have noted. You can clearly also see that in the Quran when it comes down to certain rhyme schemes, or even the mutaqatti'at. So we don't say ha mim, we say ha mim. We don't say, for example, kaf, ha, ya, ayn, sad. That's how we say it. But if we were going to say it as we say the letters, it should have been kaf, ha, ya, ayn, sad, which is not the case. But the readings, they evolved because it was a consonantal text. There wasn't all the diacritics and there wasn't all the dots. So people had slight differentiations in reading it. And then later, when there was so many permutations, they standardized it. And that's where you get the 7 to 10. But for them to say that it's all from God, that's when the hadith came in play, where they say there's 7 ahruf. But 7 ahruf has nothing to do with 7 readings.
So how do we know that the same Quran that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, recited, how do you know that's the same
Because
one
the
that
consonantal text is preserved. The actual text itself is what's preserved. The reading, this is different. But you can get really close to the reading, because on how all these different readings that they have, the remembrance is the same. God says, "Inna anzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafidhun." So we have brought down the remembrance and we are preserving this remembrance. So if you say Malik Yawmiddin or Malik Yawmiddin, is you're just reading it a little differently, but the idea is exactly the same. And this is the preservation that we see.
But how do we know that because we know that the Quran is Allah's speech. So how do we know that the
it's the words
Qur'an we
of
have
God.
today? Yeah.
Because
So how do we-
because it's consistent, you don't see the contradictions within it. You still see the divine style of writing, which cannot be reproduced. You could still see the full message. You are still being capable of being guided. You don't see contradictions with history. You don't see contradictions with science, and it's still valid in everything that is being presented, and it's testable as well. So the promise is clearly been proven.
Okay. Another question. It's regarding prayer. It's not about how you pray. I've seen that video. The
Many
question
times.
is regarding the 5 daily prayers. I heard you say that you only pray 3 times a day.
Because the Quran talks extensively about 3 prayers. There's nowhere that it talks about 5 prayers, and it gives 3 prayers by name. It does not give 5 prayers. So you have Salatul Fajr, the daybreak or dawn, and then you have Salatul Isha, which is the evening or the time of when the sun is setting, and then you have Salatul Wusta, which is the middle prayer, which is in the middle of the night. So those are the 3 times.
Okay. So
Yeah,
where did
where did the 5 come from? Because there's times of salah and then there's times of tasbih, times of glorification. The times of glorification, it's not a prayer. It's for you to take time out of your day to glorify. There's 6 times of glorification. So they made one optional, right? And then the other 2, which is Dhuhr and Asr, where they don't recite the Quran out loud, which negates it as a prayer, those they made mandatory. And they just cannot say other than that the Prophet went up to God and he ordered them to do 5. But that story we found with the Zoroastrians. This is where it's a little weird. And if you look as well at the early stages of Christianity, their doctrine was changed very quickly politically after Jesus. the same that happened with David and the same that happened with Moses. If you think that our history is different, then this is you putting wool on your own eyes.
Okay.
The
Well,
devil never quits.
That's all.
Right. Cool. Let me take the next caller, and I appreciate you coming up, Ahmed.
All right. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, I would appreciate it if we keep the lines open for Sunnis and Shias, because I want them to prove to me why their position is Islam, because we have to define what that is as well. But they have a problem doing that. So let's see. Papa, don't speak.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Peace be upon you.
Peace be upon you, sir. I'm Sunni. The thing is that I don't disagree of a lot of things. I'm also Ahl Quran and not Ahl Hadith. But my problem is when you speak about it, it's my ancestors were not stupid people. If you read Surah 59, it says that you should follow my memory is not that good. It says you have to follow God and the messenger and the Muslim leaders. It says that in Surah 59. So it is a ayat. It is in the Quran. But that somebody that's taking advantage of it is something else. But says that Sunni and be Ahl Sunnah it's not a thing. It is a thing. It says in the Quran, and I also believe in the Quran. But that one, I think it's you cannot miss that. You have
talking
seen
about
it. And you have read
459.
it.
Yes, yeah. أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا
Yes.
الرسول وأولو الأمر منكم. Obey God and obey the messenger and the people of authority among you. That's the verse that you. But you said you let's
And it says
get,
in the
let's
last- in
get
the last-
core to the argument. 1 minute. So Christians, their religion came from the basis of what Jesus used to preach, correct?
Yes.
So at one point when Jesus was around, the people around Jesus who were supporting Jesus, they were called mu'minun, believers, correct?
Yes.
And then they segregated the concept of Christianity, of how we know what Christianity is, appeared after Jesus passed away. Was Jesus a Christian? That's my question.
Yeah, I get you. Sorry, but that doesn't change anything.
When
When it says you have to follow the message.
I get it, but I'm talking about the word Sunni. So when we're talking about Jesus was not a Christian, yet the followers of Jesus called themselves Christian, that's problematic. When Muhammad was not a Sunni and the followers of Muhammad want to call themselves Sunni or Shia, that's problematic because now you're not following the teachings of the Prophet. So the Prophet himself, by the way, when it says obey God and obey the messenger, the Prophet himself, that verse applies to him. In his case, if you are the Prophet, the blessed Prophet Muhammad, obey the messenger means he has to obey Gabriel. For me and you, obeying the messenger, there is no physical human messenger for you to directly obey. So it would go back to the Quran, because that's the message that the messenger gave you. Before the Quran, people were capable of obeying God. Don't put your hand in the fire. Do not have sex with your mother. Do not kill somebody. These are things that are innate with us. So people were capable of obeying God. The messenger is giving it to you precisely so that if you follow his orders, which is in the Quran, you live a fulfilling life and your society does not crumble.
Yeah, okay, that's true. My belief is that Sunnah means that you follow the way of the Prophet, and that is what God tells us in the Quran repeatedly.
No, he doesn't. He tells you to obey the messenger, and he says to follow the Prophet.
Yes, obey.
And God states you follow.
Exactly what I said.
Those who follow this book, following this Prophet, the word يَتَّبِعُونَ النَّبِي, it does not mean now you have to mimic the person. So if you go to a surah called Ghafir, for example, there's a man that he was concealing his faith in front of Pharaoh. So this man believed in Moses, and Pharaoh did not believe in Moses. The Pharaoh said the words, follow me, I'll show you the right way. And then the man spoke up, he said, no, follow me, I will show you the right way. But it does not mean that those people who are going to follow this man now needs to dress, talk, and act like him. It's the understanding and the worldview that you need to follow. If we're all going to follow the Prophet the way that you guys want us to follow the Prophet, then we're all messengers and we're all prophets. Some doctors.
There is a way. There is a way to distinguish the hadiths. People are not stupid out there. The way that you distinguish the hadith, it is if it's against the Quran, and if it's against the way of the Quran, that means that's a false hadith. End of the discussion. That is, so there is. You can be the follower of the way the Prophet, as it says in the Quran.
Is it required? Is the hadith required for you to be a Muslim?
Okay, then I'm a Sunni because I follow the way of the Prophet, Sunnah. That's why I'm a Sunni. I'm not a Sunni because of something else. I follow the Allah Ta'ala first, of course. That's not the God, the Maker.
But brother, what you're following, and you say that this is you following the Prophet, this was not given by God, nor was it given by the Prophet. And much what you follow is wrong. You're thinking that the Prophet gave you this, but the Prophet had nothing to do with it. Because if you start to look at the things that they're saying, it contradicts the Quran. So for example, part of your sunnah is you're not allowed to pray before between Asr and Maghrib, you're not allowed to pray, correct? It's forbidden.
There is a hadith out there that's not true, and we Sunnis are not idiots. We look it up if it's against the Quran.
I'm talking about the hadith that you do take.
You don't have, but no, you that's not true. You don't know which hadith I believe and I don't believe.
No,
I believe all hadith that again.
So I'm asking you about a hadith that the Sunnis do take. I want to know if you take it. There's a hadith that states that you cannot pray. It's forbidden for you to pray after the prayer of Fajr, daybreak, all the way until the rising of the sun. And in the same hadith, it tells you it is forbidden for you to pray after Asr, afternoon, all the way to the setting of the sun. Do you believe that that hadith is accurate?
I don't know. Actually, if it's against the Quran, I will never believe it. I had never heard that hadith before. Like I said, I'm an Ahli Quran. I don't do that. I don't read that much hadith. I think you should follow the Quran. This is the word of the God. But to say that
so what does it mean?
Don't exist, it means that
I never said that Sunnis don't exist. Sunnis exist, but Sunnism is not Islam. Shia is not Islam. That's the argument. I'm not saying that they don't exist. They exist, but they do not represent what Islam is. Not even close. And I can present this argument in many ways. The Prophet Muhammad was ordered to follow Millat Ibrahim, the creed of Abraham. God didn't say Millat Nuh, Millat Adam. He did not pick Adam or Noah or Moses or Jesus. He specifically said Abraham for a very specific reason. He told the blessed prophet to follow Abraham in his creed. Abraham was not a Jew. Abraham was not a Christian. Abraham was not a Sunni. Abraham was not a Shia. He was a Muslim, Hanifan, monotheist, وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, and he was not an idolater. The problem with Sunnism and Shia, they have concepts of idolatry, which is not accepted by God. That's why their religion has stopped expanding at the rate that it did. That's why their religion now is deemed problematic for a lot of people. And that's why a lot of people are just taking face value of the religion and they're not diving deep into it because it has forms of shirk. And that's not accepted by God. And that's not who Abraham was. And that's not what Muhammad gave you.
Thank you very much, brother. May God's peace be upon you. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. There is a brother in the chat. Mathin. God bless you, bro. God bless you, Mathin. Keep putting a good fight. And testing is not as stupid as well. Yet you're not a Muslim. Smart and stupid is not an argument. Thank you, my good brother Abu Sulaiman. All right. So, Amir. Einstein. What's up, Amir? Are you Sunni or Shia?
I just have some questions if that's okay if I ask you. Before I ask, I'm a Shia. So my question is, okay, I follow the Quran. I feel Quran is perfect. I know so, but like in some verses in the Quran, I don't understand it. You know what I mean? So that's why, like, I follow the Shia, I can understand more. Like basically, when God say like His hand or His, like the Sunnis when, how can I explain to you? Well, I'm just a
You
little nervous. Sorry.
can I try to explain it on your behalf?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, you're saying that the Quran in certain things for you it's difficult for you to know what it's saying.
Yeah, basically
So,
like the hand.
and you find that the Shia's position is explaining better than the Sunni's position. That's what I understood. Is that correct?
Yeah, basically with the hands and stuff, because like, how can I say, like Sunnis say God is in a place when God who made the place. So how can it be in the place? So like that's first thing, and second thing, like how God can have hand is like the same thing as Christians.
My
Like
brother.
when
So what you're explaining is these theological differences of people understanding certain things that are presented in the Arabic. Now, what you're saying and you're trying to generalize on the Sunnis, not all the Sunnis think that God has limbs. And not all of the Sunnis believe that God has an actual physical presence at all times. There's people that are considered Sunnis that would be coming from the Ash'aris, and there's people that would be coming from a Mu'tazilite background that kind of grew. And there's people who are called Mutajassim, which they say that God has limbs. And then you have the Salafi position where it's like it's unexplainable. But yes, when it
I
comes
remember like, I'm sorry, but to
no, go ahead.
yeah, I remember like a hadith in one of Sunni books. It said like,
God has two right hands.
Allah, no, Jalas al-Arsh. He's like sit down on like Arsh.
Perfect.
I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, which is wrong. This is not what it says. It says istaqam. Okay. ثم استقام على
I don't
العرش.
remember that. I'm sorry.
Istaqam,
Like,
the word istaqam means he controlled. Okay, so this is something that we need to also understand. Was God sitting on a throne before the creation? God states that he created a creation. ثم استوى على العرش. Now, where the word arsh can mean throne physically, and can it mean something that somebody has trellises. So, like God states, مما يعرشون. He said this about the bees, for them to build their house and what these people have raised. So the sky itself has been raised. ثم استوى على العرش. Now he has controlled this arsh that he has. You can also understand it as a throne where it means that he is in complete control. God is not in a physical sense that we can understand. And God manifested a physical voice for Moses that no voice will compare to. But it does not necessitate that this is the voice of God. God communicated to us in Arabic. It does not mean that this is the language of God. So these are metaphysical questions that somebody who wants to magnify their Lord and to expand their Lord as much as they can, they fall into the thing where we're now talking about the infinite, all the possibilities that God has, which us as a limited brain cannot understand. So when you're talking about these things, it's not the problem with Sunnis and Shias here. It's the problem with the human ability. You're a person who has insight. Go ahead.
Yeah, can I ask what's your opinion about those ayat in the Quran?
So when God states "Ma bayna yaday," what is between its hands, this was also said about the Quran. So this is in Surah Fussilat, where God states وَإِنَّهُ لِكِتَابٌ عَزِيزٌ. Okay, لا يأتيه الباطل من بين يديه ولا من خلفه. This is a noble book. No falsehood will come between its hands and what's like behind it. So how does the book have hands? But if you look at the word hand in Arabic, yad, it can mean a limb, like a hand, and it can mean a grasp, like what is in between its hands, what is in between its knowledge, what is in between its abilities. Now, what is in between God's hands is everything. But in what is between in the Quran is what the Quran is talking about. So this is said many times, which the Christian dilemma fails in. God states, مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ مِنَ التَّوْرَاتِ. Okay? He is confirming what is between its hands of the Torah. So it's what is between its grasp. So when the Quran or the Gospel is mentioning something that is in the Torah, this is a confirmation. If it's not mentioned, then it's not in between its hands, then it's not a confirmation. This is the idiom in Arabic, as they say. It's an Arabic saying, مَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ. Not talking about necessity, actual limbs and what.
Okay, thank you so much for the answer, and I hope you have a nice day.
Thank you, man.
And also I'm sorry for the hate comments over there.
Oh,
by the way, wait.
This is the thing that truly shows who they are.
By the way, I have like how can I say it? as you told me before, some Sunni people are like doesn't believe in those stuff. Yeah, like they doesn't believe like God has hands and stuff.
Some.
Like some Sunni people doesn't know a lot about their ahadith, you know, like about their ahadith. Yeah, so like I call them cute Sunnis because like they doesn't follow the hadith 100% because they doesn't know it really well, and they just follow the Quran. I just call them cute Sunnis. What do
I
you
have
think
a
about
question,
those
Amir.
people?
So
Yeah.
most of the Christians you debate, or the most of the Christians you talk to, how many of them read the Bible?
No, a lot.
How many Sunnis read the Bukhari?
No, a lot too.
Exactly. So they're just adhering to a cult. And they're going to be in big trouble on the day of judgment because they believed in something they never read. And God tells you, do not pursue what you have no knowledge in. And most people that read the Bukhari, they will see what I'm seeing. But they're scared away from reading the Quran. They're scared away from reading the Hadith. They just go to the mosque on Friday, whatever the guy says, khalas, I'm going to put that and I'm going to go with it, and it's his responsibility. That's what they
You
teach.
wanna know what's funny? You wanna know what's funny? Like one time, someone told me like I was like telling him some hadith on his books. Okay, he told me, listen, you should not read a lot until you be a kafir. You're Sunni. Why are you telling me this? Yeah, it actually happened to me. Anyway, yalla, goodbye and have a nice day.
Appreciate it, man. Salam.
Wait, how can I leave? Wait.
I'll drop you.
Okay.
All right. You see, ladies and gentlemen, one thing that I want you to be aware of is they cannot present an argument where it shows that the Quran is insufficient, that you actually need something else. There's nowhere in the Quran does it tell you to go outside of the Quran for guidance. Nowhere in the Quran does it tell you to follow Sunnat al-Nabi, okay? There's nowhere in the Quran where Ali is mentioned by name. There's none of these things that they try to force you into. And then they go as far as saying, you don't have the ability to understand the Quran. While God states that we have put a seal on their hearts, so that's why they don't understand the Quran. They try to make it seem like the Quran is such a difficult book when it's such a simple and easy book for you to follow and understand. And then you destroy their arguments. They cannot bring up arguments where it shows that the Quran cannot be understood by a mere simpleton. Thanks for the word there, Cyrus. All right, let's keep going.
السلام عليكم كيف حالك؟
Alhamdulillah, كيفك أنت؟
Also my name is Amir, by the way, but I'm a Sunni. I was born a Sunni. And I only watched your last live by coincidence. I came up to it, and you brought up actually very good points, which made me do some research on my end.
That's all I'm here for you to do. I don't want you to follow me. I don't want you to think of me and anything. I just want you to go explore and go find your God in the Quran. I have absolutely nothing to do with you people. Khalas, that's it. Problem.
Yeah, I mean, you're not trying to do anything evil. You're basically telling people to follow the Quran, which is an amazing thing.
And Sunnis hate that.
I don't know why. I mean, I'm Sunni, and I really did not hate that. I actually enjoyed it. I don't speak for all Sunnis, but me personally, I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed the life. You gave me a lot of knowledge that I didn't know before because you said most of us don't read a lot. And yeah, so anyway, when I did my research a little bit, came up with like 4 or 5 verses that clearly says, I know one of the other guests brought up Ati'u Allah wa Ati'u Rasul, but there's like 4 more verses that clearly says, and I can read each one of you. I have them on my sticky notes.
Yep.
That clearly says the gist of it, that you Ati'u Allah wa Ati'u Rasul. And I'm also Arab, so I understand. I'm completely fluent in Arabic. So to me, Ati'u Allah wa Ati'u Rasul wa ulul amr minkum, that means you also have to obey the messenger or what he brought up to us. Now, I know...
I understand where this is going. I just wanted to ask you a very quick question.
Yes, sir.
So if I go, the messenger goes, bring me a glass of water. You have to obey him.
Not in that sense.
You do. 100% you do.
Okay.
If the messenger tells you, and listen carefully, bring me a cow because we're going to have to sacrifice the cow, and I want it to be yellow, not old, not young. You have to obey the messenger.
I mean, yeah, if you have to obey the messenger with everything based on what
Okay,
you said.
now I obeyed the messenger and I brought the cow. We sacrificed the cow, and the messenger goes, look, you guys committed murder. Take a part of the cow we just sacrificed and hit this dead body with it. And that dead body came alive. Okay?
Okay.
God produced a sign through the messenger. Now, does this become a sunnah and a tradition that every time there's a murder, I have to go sacrifice a yellow cow?
Not necessarily, no.
Perfect. So I obeyed the messenger. I did what the messenger said, and the results was proven. It did not become something that is binding for the rest of the time. The messenger says, flank them behind the mountain so for us to win this battle. We flanked them. We won the battle. Does that mean now it becomes a tradition? No. If I did not flank them behind the mountain, as God states, and if you go away from his command, you're going to fall into a fitna. You're going to have a confusion. You're going to have a test. You're going to lose the battle, supposedly. So this is what it means to obey the messenger. And it's the same thing, Ulil Amr. What's the book of Ulil Amr? There isn't a book. It's their commandments. Do this, don't do this. So to obey the messenger does not necessitate that there's a book outside that's giving you more religious limits. Now I'll take you to a verse in chapter 4, which is 4:13 and 4:14. Okay? It says, تلك حدود الله ومن يطع الله ورسوله يدخله جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها وذلك الفوز العظيم. These are the limits of God. And whoever obeys God and his messenger will be admitted into gardens beneath which rivers flow, eternally therein. That is a great achievement. And whoever disobeys God and his messenger and trespasses his limits. وَمَنْ يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولُهُ وَيَتَعَدَّ حُدُودَهُ. So what's حدوده? Is that duality or singular? تعرف انت بالعربي عنا
his limits, حدوده, yeah.
But is it حدود or حدودهما? Their limits.
When it says حدوده, it's a singular, goes back to God.
Perfect. So the messenger does not have limits to set. It's the limits of God that's being set. Where do I find the limits of God? From the word of God. The messenger is telling you the application. He's not giving you new rules.
When it's مضارع مستمر and it says يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول, that to me it's something continuous. I know you brought up a point and you said that like for instance in a battle, if a verse came in and that's just for the battle, it doesn't come a tradition, but here it's like مضارع مستمر and it goes that you have to أطيعوا الرسول. So to me, if that's something already been done and it ended at that certain time period, then what's the point of the verse, you know? Like
because the messenger has to be followed. Obeyed. Now, I'll give you another example. Ati'ullah is not just the Quran. Ati'ullah is more than the Quran. But when it comes down to following Prophet Muhammad, the ta'ah would be just the Quran. I can prove this. Did people know that zina is bad before the Quran? Isn't it something that's innate with us that if I cheat on my wife is going to feel terrible? Or if my wife cheats on me, I'm going to feel terrible. We knew cheating was bad, right? Before the Quran.
Yeah. It wasn't forbidden though. It was bad, but it wasn't forbidden.
It was socially not accepted to cheat all throughout history.
I know, but there wasn't a bigger determined factor that says this is forbidden, like for alcohol, for zina, for gambling.
One minute. So we knew that cheating on our spouses was something that's bad. This is something that we already knew that God has programmed in us. It's something that we shouldn't do. Okay?
Correct.
So that is, but what does the messenger give us? Lash them 100 times. See? So I have to obey the messenger. So I'm capable of deducing by the world that God has programmed that zina is something that is not good for society. But it is not possible for me to know that I have to whip him 100 times. This is not something that I can come up with. This is what the messenger ordered us to do through what God has told them. And now the other point, which my brother Abu Sulaiman is saying, God never said obey the prophet. He said obey the messenger. A messenger does not mean Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad is a messenger. But God is saying obey the messenger. So anytime a messenger comes, he needs to be obeyed. And this is mutlaq. This is forever. This applied to Muhammad and before Muhammad as well. So in the case of Prophet Muhammad, he had to obey Gabriel. God even states in Surah Fussilat as well, God states, الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون. Those that say that God is our Lord and they become upright, the angels descend on them. Do not fear and do not grieve and look forward to the paradise that you have promised. نحن أولياءكم في الحياة الدنيا والآخرة. We are your allies in the world and the hereafter. Now, Surah Fatir. God states, Subhanallah, الذي جعل الملائكة رسلا. Angels are messengers. If I have a messenger companion, if I get an order from this companion that is with me, and I obey him, I'm obeying the messenger. Now, you're going to say, well, this sounds a little too far-fetched. No. Those that disconnect from God, they get a devil companions, قرين, right? الذين يعش ومن يعش عن ذكر الله نقيض إنه شيطان فإنه له قرين. Whoever moves away from the remembrance of God, we give him a devil, and he's an antagonist to him. They will delude him. But a person that says, God is my Lord, not the government, not the parents, not Bukhari, not the guy in the mosque, not anybody, Allah is my Lord. He's the one who's dictating the reality. You get an angel that helps you. You get a feeling like you're walking down the street, this guy, feed him. You just think it's you, but it's not you. And you obey that command and you feed the man, boom, you're saved. You're helping yourself on the day of judgment, and the angel's helping you. أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول. And God states clearly, الذين ومن yeah, so what I was trying to say is that the term messenger, it's a general term. And the rule applies for all examples. وَلَقَدْ ضَرَبْنَا لِلنَّاسِ فِي هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ مِنْ كُلِّ مَثَلٍ. And we have struck in this Quran of every example. So when it's Muhammad is alive and he's telling me, go get me a glass of water, I'm going to get him that glass of water. I'm obeying him. If he tells me to go around the mountain, I'm going to do it. If now I'm saying God is my Lord and I have an angel telling me, do not yell, do not shout, stick to your religion, I'm going to obey it. In fact, my body's like, you know what, this guy is saying really bad stuff. I want to yell back. No, that feeling inside me is guiding me to do the right thing. See? You assume that Jesus is coming back. Jesus comes back, says, hey guys, it's time for us to help in Palestine. You have to obey the messenger. If you don't, you're disconnected. You know what I mean?
I mean, wouldn't it say أطيعوا الله ورسله, not ورسوله? ورسوله, it's a singular. It goes back to Prophet Muhammad. It doesn't say ورسله.
No, this is an axiom. So there's a verse in chapter 3 where God states, إِنَّ أَوْلَى النَّاسُ بِإِبْرَاهِيمَ لِلَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُ وَهَذَا النَّبِيُّ. هذا النبي. This messenger. When God says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَمَلَائِكَتُهُ يُصَلُّونَ عَلَى النَّبِيِّ, anytime somebody fulfilled the word al-nabi, it's going to happen where the God and the messenger is connecting on him or praying on him. Okay? So people assume that it's just Prophet Muhammad, but God says, تِلْكَ سُنَّةَ اللَّهِ. That is the tradition of God. وَلَن تَجِدُوا لِسُنَّةَ اللَّهِ تَبْدِيلًا. And you will not see a change to the way of God. وَلَن تَجِدُوا لِسُنَّةَ اللَّهِ تَحْوِيلًا. And God is not going to divert his way. So the thing is, it's very clear. When God says, obey the king, anyone who's fulfilling the role of a king, you obey him. When God says, obey the messenger, anyone who's fulfilling the role of the messenger gets obeyed.
Okay, so just so I'm understanding correctly, those verses that say أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول, they're basically kind of limited to that time of period where the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam was alive.
Now, in the Quran alone position, I believe, and some Quran alone people also believe this, while others don't adhere to this. I personally believe, from what the Quran is showing, is that prophethood is sealed. There's no more prophets and there's no more books that are coming. The Quran is the last book that we're going to receive, and the Quran and the Prophet Muhammad is the final of the prophets. Okay, but messengership is not sealed. So we believe there's more messengers coming. God states, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ.
It doesn't say Khatim al-Anbiya?
Khatim al-Anbiya, seal of prophets. Yeah, it doesn't say Khatim al-Mursaleen. It doesn't say seal of messengers. Are angels messengers? Yes, they're still working, so they're not sealed. God states, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. We will not punish until we send a messenger, right? وَلَقَدْ وَأَرْسَلْنَا, this is in chapter 14. God also states this following verse, where God says in chapter 14, and we do not send a messenger except in the language of his people in order to clarify. Then God sends astray whomever he wills and guides whomever he wills. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا بِلِسَانِ قَوْمِهِ لِيُبَيِّنُ لَهُمْ. Okay, so the messenger is going to come in the tongue of the people he's warning. right? And God states, as well as this, and وَإِذْ أَرَدْنَا أَن نُهْلِكَ قَرْيَةً أَمَرْنَا مُتْرَفِيهَا فَفَسَقُوا فِيهَا فَحَقَّ عَلَيْهَا الْقَوْلُ فَدَمَّرْنَاهَا تَدْمِيرًا. And whenever we intended to annihilate a town, we commanded its wealthy people, but they acted immoral therein. So the words get fulfilled on them and we destroy them. How is God going to warn the wealthy? By sending a messenger. Hey guys, you guys are coming to a limit where God's going to destroy you. This guy's crazy. وَيَا حَسْرَةً عَلَى الْعِبَادِ مَا يَأْتِيهِم مِّن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا كَانُوا بِهِ يَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. And whenever a messenger comes to them, they keep making fun of him. And then God rescues the messengers and the believers and he destroys the people. This has been the sunnat Allah. This has been the tradition of God. So I don't believe messengers have been sealed. I believe prophethood has been sealed. So Ati'u Allah, Ati'u Rasul now has become very dynamic. See what I mean?
I see. So to you, Rasuluhu, it's not necessarily just it doesn't go back necessarily just to Prophet Muhammad. It goes back to Prophet. It could go back to other angels. It could go back to basically any messenger that is sent from God.
Right. Because to Prophet Muhammad himself, what is Ati'u Rasul? To him, when Muhammad he's learning off the Quran, he's a walking Quran. So he has to live how the Quran is telling him. Now he's getting the verse, Ati'u Allah wa Ati'u Rasul. So what's Rasul here? Jibreel. It's not Muhammad. Now to him, when Muhammad is, the blessed prophet's hearing it, Ati'u Rasul, okay, my Rasul is Jibreel.
To be honest, that doesn't, well, this point specifically doesn't make sense to me because the prophet doesn't need God to tell him to obey. Like he already knows that Jibreel came and God is there and he believes in God and he's the one who's trying to make other people Muslims and believe in God. So why would God tell him to obey the messenger? He already knows that. He already believes in that. He already, that to me sounds for people who...
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was going to say that to me sounds for people who are believers, but not for prophet, not directed to the prophet to actually obey someone else,
Now here's the thing where I can answer you, where the prophet knew he not to commit shirk, right? And God is warning him, do not commit shirk. But the prophet already knew it. But it's being put there for the prophet to hear it, which he already knew, but it's also to teach others. But he still has to apply it because he already knew it. He was already, as you said, is obeying Gabriel. So no, the verse did not come for the prophet, it came for the believers. But the prophet who is a messenger, he's doing the two roles. He has to show this message to the people. So he's teaching the people through the Quran. Now I want to show you another verse where the word is being used and it cannot mean the prophet being a human at this point, okay? So Surah Mujadala, for example, okay? Where God states this. Okay. So when God says, فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ فَصِيَامُ شَهْرَيْنِ مُتَتَابِعَيْنِ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ يَتَمَاسَ. And whoever does not find, which is releasing somebody's neck, then fast for 2 months consecutively before they can teach each other. And whoever is not able, then the feeding of 60 poor people. That is so that you may believe in God and his messenger. Okay? These are the limits of God. Now there's many places in the Quran where God states God and his messenger. He's not about Prophet Muhammad, but rather the messenger that's writing everything that you're doing. Now God ordered you to fast 2 months consecutively before having intercourse with your wife again. 2 months, every day fasting. But if you can't do it, like if you messed up one of the days, then you can go feed 60 people. So it's very easy for someone to pretend like, oh, I messed one day up. So now I'll just go feed 60 people in 2 days and go have sex again with my wife, instead of going to endure the actual command of 2 months. See what I mean? But who can only tell that except God and the messenger? It's not Prophet Muhammad that can tell what's inside your heart, but the angel can. So that's why God is saying to believe in God and his messenger, because his messenger is witnessing you.
I see. Okay. No, I clearly understand your point that the messenger doesn't go back just to the Prophet Muhammad. One of the other things that we don't take as sunnah as everything that is obligatory. So to me, I was raised to believe that if it's a sunnah, then it's preferable for you to do it, but you're not obliged to do it. You're not sinful. Yeah. Like that's like, for instance, entering the bathroom with your like left leg or something like that. Honestly, to me, those are sunnah. But I was taught in school that
Optional.
it's preferable. But yeah, to me, that's not obligatory for me to follow it. So that to me makes it that the Quran is the first preference, and then the other sunnahs, those are
optional,
preferable. Yes.
So one thing, my good brother Abu Sulaiman he's telling you one of the verses where God is finishing that verse, says after God orders him like وَبَلِّغْ مَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ مِنْ رَبِّكَ وَاللَّهُ يَعْصُمُكَ مِنَ النَّاسِ. I believe the verse is like God will protect you from the people. وَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلْ فَمَا بَلَّغْتَ رِسَالَاتِهِ. So it's like if you did not do, which is notify the people, then you did not be a messenger. You did not say the message. So him, as his role as a messenger is to give the message. Now the verse that not the verse, you were talking about something that's specific where this is in Surah Qalam, right? The pen. Noon wal qalami wa ma yasturun. Okay? There's a verse which you kind of just explained to me, and this is why I know it's not accurate. So God states that you know how you said it's optional. You get to pick and choose the things that you believe would get you closer, right? And God stays here.
No, not with everything. Like I would say the physical stuff, like the entering a bathroom with your left, eating with your right hand, like all those the Prophet did, but he never said that, hey, if you don't do this, then you're sinful. You know?
I get it, but you also have a verse where it says أَمْ لَهُمْ كِتَابٌ فِيهِ أَمْ لَكُمْ كِتَابٌ فِيهِ تَدْرِسُونَ إِنَّ لَكُمْ فِيهِ لِمَا تَخَيَّرُونَ. Right? So it's like, do you have a book in which you study that you get to pick whatever you like? So for me, when somebody's coming to say, oh, these are things that make you better in religion, but it's optional. Okay, for me, the whole book is optional. So I don't want any of it. Is that a problem? Yes, that's a problem. Okay, running between the two mountains in Safa and Marwa, where there's a part where they say it's a sunnah, which is not found in the Quran. How come that one's not optional? And how do we know? Oh, well, because the Prophet did it. But the Prophet didn't have bathrooms. Why is he entering a bathroom with his left foot when there was no bathrooms at the time of the Prophet? They used to go outside and pee. So where did you get that one from? That's why it's optional. You see what I mean?
I see, yeah. What you're saying, if some of it can be optional, then you wouldn't take the entirety of it because
it's basically not from God.
Make some of the optional. I see what you're saying.
Okay. And the things that they deem optional, it cannot be solidified with what the Prophet did because it either has historical errors or cannot be validated with other hadith. And the ones that they are saying that they're binding, it's contradicting to the Quran. This is what I kept finding. So for example, there's a hadith about the stoning. So the Prophet, he goes for the stonings and they do the stoning and the Prophet didn't say a single word. And some guy asks him, should we do this one time or for the rest of time? And he goes for the rest of time. So the Prophet never clarified. And if that man never asked him, it wouldn't have been part of religion.
No, yeah, I see what you're saying. But that also
that's not in the
Quran. He wasn't going to specify it at some point, like because you don't know what he was going to say. Like if he didn't say it before the person asked him, maybe he was going to say it after 30 minutes. You know, like you can't know what he was going to say. Correct. You know,
but it's the style of the hadith where it seems like it's manipulative. So this is something that's not in the Quran and they're giving it some credences. So where they wanted to say that this is binding forever. So the Prophet didn't say it, so they don't make the Prophet a liar. Somebody asked them and then they attach to the Prophet where the person is asking a question. And again, hadith is not verbatim.
Okay.
Islam.
No, I see what you're saying. You make a lot of valid points, and I want to give other time for other guests as well. I appreciate your time and answering all my questions.
God bless you.
And hope you have a great rest of your day, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Salam.
Bye. Salam.
Okay. I have a lot of people in the queue, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I just also want to say something. I'm a person who tries to be fair. But TikTok is not a fair platform. So if I go on a StreamYard, for example, they put the names in order of the person who came. I can take the person up. But here, every 5 minutes, it keeps changing. So I don't know who came first or who came last. And it's very hard to keep up with everything. So I tried to see the name that was sitting there. I apologize if you wait for some time. What's up?
Yeah, hello.
Pecanos. Pisanos or
Yeah.
Pecanos?
Yucanos. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Are you a Sunni or a Shia? Or a Christian?
Nah, I'm Muslim. I try to follow the Quran and the Sunnah with the understanding of the Sahabas.
Mhm.
So I got a couple of questions for you. I'm a little confused about. You said it was like 2 callers ago. He asked you about prayer, and you said you pray 3 times a day.
Correct.
He asked you where did the 5 come from, and you mentioned something about
Times of
what-
glorification. The
yeah,
speed.
times of glorification. There you go.
Right.
You said the other 2 came from times of glorification. So,
Right.
being that you call yourself a Quran Muslim only, I take it that you got proof of that.
Yes.
Could you show me that proof?
Sure. So it would be in. Nope. Sorry, 1 second.
And why you looking for that? Like, I'm just, I'm not even trying to be funny or nothing like that, but I'm like billions of Muslims or millions of Muslims, we all got it wrong about praying 5 times a day, and it's like a few of y'all pray 3 times a day. This is correct.
So 1 billion of the Christians got it wrong, and a few Unitarians got it right. Yes. So
Say
that
what?
argument. So,
I'm not talking about Christians. I'm talking about the Muslims. I don't care. I don't care about the Christians. I'm talking about the Muslims.
I'm trying to bring the argument closer to you. Just because there's a majority of people doing something for an extended time of period, it does not make what they were doing valid. You need to understand the source of where it came from. So when I'm saying there's 1 billion of Christians saying that Jesus is the Son of God, they've been doing that for many years, but it does not mean it's correct. And there's a small group of Unitarian Christians that don't say that Jesus is part of a Trinity, and they're the ones who are correct. So saying that they've been doing it for a very long time does not mean that that's true. Now, the verse that I was thinking about is chapter 20, verse 130.
2130.
Yeah, 20, 130. So the verse is saying here, and I'll pull it up in English. 20, 130. It stays, and be patient over what they say, and glorify with the praise of your Lord, before the rising of the sun, and before its setting, and during the night, and glorify at the sides. Here, sides is a plural, which would indicate 3 or more. So it would be a minimum of 6 times.
Sides, plural.
Actually, of 3 or more.
Yeah. I don't see anything about 3, and I see an indication of the 5 compulsory congregational prayers. I do
Where does
see
it
that.
talk about? Where does it talk about prayer? In 6 times here. It's not 6. It's not 5. It's minimum of 6.
Say what?
It's not talking about prayer. It does not use the word salah here, and it's talking
Yeah,
of
you're
a
right.
minimum
That's
of
in
6 places.
parentheses. So you're right. It's in parentheses when I'm reading. So that's I guess it's
Thank
an
you.
interpretation.
Yeah.
So,
This is somebody's interpretation. I'm sticking to the word. God bless you. God bless you.
Please with the reward. I mean, I appreciate that, but this definitely doesn't prove nothing you just said. My thing is this right here. This is my thing right here. You said you pray 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
You told that other caller that is those other 2 times comes from glorification, and this is the verse that you prove for that. By no means, and I'm not even trying to be disrespectful, by no means, I don't see how you can even interpret that from this verse alone.
It's giving you 6 times of glorification.
No,
Which
it's
2
not.
of them. It is. It's telling you to glorify with the praise of your Lord before the rising of the sun, which is one of the prayers that aligns with a prayer. Okay. Before its settings, which is Asr, which is not a time of the prayer in the Quran, and during the night, which is a time that is like that. Those are the 2 times that are in the Quran as prayer, right? And then it says at the sides of the daytime. The sides here would be minimum of 3, 2 of which are the prayers, or one of which would be a prayer.
And then we can argue this all day. You said plural means 3 or more. That's not true.
In the Arabic, it is. So in Arabic, we have singular, we have
what you just said. But you
Let,
now
let me
you're
let,
going from
let me
Arabic
finish.
to English, bro. You're going from
But
Arabic to English.
it's a clear Arabic language. So God states atraf. Atraf would be 3 or more. Tarafain would be 2.
Okay.
Okay. So now we know for a fact that this is a minimum of 6. But when we come down to a verse that is very specific in the Quran, and I'll take you, this is in verse chapter 17, right?
And glorify the praises of your Lord.
Right.
Hey, what does this got something to do with Salah? Like I
It's
can
not
glorify.
salah. I'm telling you, it's
What
not
do you-
salah.
Yeah. So, but where do you get this? You said that this verse right here justifies us praying 5 times a day.
No.
No. I'm telling you, the caller said, where do we get the other 2 from? And this is what you said. And I
Yeah.
specifically asked you, could you prove to me this is where we got 5 prayers from?
No,
And this is what
that's
you
not
brought
my argument. You need to hear me out. What the
But
question?
listen,
What,
I asked you a question though. That's what I'm saying. I asked you a specific question, sir.
but you misunderstood what I said to the caller. I didn't say that the caller is that this is where you guys got the 5 prayers from, because they got the 5 prayers from him going up to the sky and following a Zoroastrian story. But the way that they justify it is by this verse. But this
Who is
verse
they?
is not talking about salah.
Who is they? Who is that?
The Sunnis.
No, that's not true. We do it. We get this stuff from the hadiths. This is
Bro,
not true.
have you not read the translation right now where the word prayer was in brackets? Yes or no?
It says an indication of the 5 compulsory. You just said that somebody else interpretation. So now you want to use that.
No, I'm
Now
not
you-
using that. I'm saying that interpretation is invalid. Now, if you go to chapter 17, 110.
This is not where we get 5 prayers from. This is not what I'm telling. That's what I'm telling you. I don't know who you're speaking from and where you get that
you
information from.
you didn't understand what I'm saying, brother. I'm saying from the originality where these people started to pray, where you have an optional prayer after the rising of the sun, which they call Dawah or the morning prayer. That one is an optional because it's trying to fit to what this verse is saying. They detached from the verse and they started to approach it from the matters of hadith, and they said that it's 5 compulsory prayer. But the Quran never talked about 5 compulsory prayer. He asked me, where did it come from? I showed him.
How do you pray? How do you pray? How do you pray? You pray like you. How do you pray? The Quran don't talk about a lot of stuff, man. This is what I'm saying. How do you pray? How do you pray? Literally,
Quran-
how do you pray?
The Quran tells you the ingredients of the prayer. So it's not going to look exactly like you, but it has some
Tells you
concepts
the
that you
ingredients
have.
of the prayer. Brother, hey,
So,
listen,
so can
I
you
don't
go
wanna-
to can you go to chapter 17, 110 before you embarrass yourself?
Nah, you've been embarrassing yourself for like I don't know how long.
Can you go to chapter
How do you-
17, 110?
I'm
If
here,
you,
I'm here,
I'm telling you
I'm
about
here.
the Quran. Go to
110,
chapter
110,
17, 110, right?
17, 110.
Right.
But while I'm looking for this, I'm asking you, how do you pray, sir?
I'm trying to show you how what you're
Okay,
trying to
I'm here.
measure as a standard does not
Okay.
work with the Quran. So the way that you're trying to tell me how the prayer works, it does not match with the Quran.
I'm not
I
trying
match
to
the
tell you.
Quran.
I literally asked you. I'm telling you anything. I'm
Brother,
asking.
go to the verse and I'm going to prove to you how those two...
I told you I'm here. I already told
Okay,
you I'm here.
so do you see the part where it says, do not be loud with your prayer, nor be silent with it, but seek the way in between?
Okay, let me read it. Say, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, invoke Allah or invoke the most beneficent Allah by whatever name you invoke Him. It is the same. Well, that's in parentheses. To Him belong the best names, and offer your salah neither aloud nor in low voice, but follow a way between.
Perfect. So you see this verse is telling you not to be loud and not to be silent in your prayer. The two prayers where I told you it's not a prayer, you guys are completely silent in congregation, going against what the Quran just said. So the prayer, which is your morning prayer, you say it out loud. Perfect. Your maghrib, your evening prayer, you say it out loud. Perfect. Your night prayer, your isha, you say it out loud. Perfect. But the two, when I'm telling you it's not a prayer, you're silent, which God is telling you here in a prayer, you can't be silent. You're proving my point now.
No, I guess we on
Don't
twisted
struggle.
pages because- no, I'm not struggling at all because I'm telling you, I'm not proving your point because I wasn't even thinking about what you just said whatsoever. I asked you literally, how do you pray? I'm asking you to tell me, how do you pray? We're not on the same page. Don't think you just schooled me on anything. I literally asked you, it's a simple question. How do you pray? Let me know my
I
voice.
was still answering your first point. I was answering your first point, but
No,
when
you.
it comes to
I'm telling you, you wasn't. I'm asking you, how do you pray, sir?
bro, you literally said about the two prayers that I don't pray, and I just proved to you they're not prayer even by your own standard. You said
No,
your
you
salah.
didn't.
So your salah, where you can you be
No, you
completely
didn't.
silent in your salah, as God states here? Can you be silent in your salah?
No, you didn't.
Can you be silent in your salah?
Say what?
Can you be
I'm asking
completely
you, how
silent?
do you pray? I'm asking you, how do you pray?
We're changing the topic. I will answer you how I pray, but let me just answer the first point which you're running away from. Why are you silent?
I'm telling you.
Why are
I'm
you
not
silent
running
in
away
your
from
new
it.
prayer, sir?
I didn't even bring that up. So how can that be? How can I run away
Because
from
I'm
a prayer?
proving to you that it's not a prayer. That's what my point. That's why you came up here. I'm telling you, your noon prayer is not a prayer.
I actually come in here because I got a couple of questions for you that you said. So, but go
Okay,
ahead.
so can we finish this point? Do you pray noon?
Do I pray noon?
Yeah, dhuhr.
Yes, absolutely.
Why is it silent in congregation?
I don't.
You don't know.
No, I do know. I do know. But
Why is it silent?
Me telling you, you're not going to, because you don't follow Hadith. So it's no need for me to even play these games with you. But I'm telling you, when I'm asking you, I'm not telling you anything. Whether
you're running away from what I'm trying to present.
I'm not running away from anything.
So when God is telling you, do not be silent, you're telling me Hadith is telling you be silent. So who cares what God said? I'm going to follow traditions. That's what you just said to me. That's what Hadith, that's what Sunnah says. Sunnah says to be silent. God says don't be silent.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
So answer the question. Why are you silent?
That's not true. That's
God
not true.
said don't be silent. In that prayer,
you 50 callers ago, I mean, every caller that called up here, they told you the same thing. They not every caller. I'm not gonna say that. They go to the verse where a prophet, where the Quran says, "Follow if you believe, if you love Allah, then follow me." You negate that, so
No,
it's no
I
need
don't.
for me.
I
It's
don't.
no need for me to bring. It's no need for me to argue. I mean, bring that up.
Actually, the thing
you don't
is,
even follow that.
you're not following what the messenger gave you, which is
let me
don't be
ask you a
silent.
question.
Well, let me
ask you a
finish the answer because you're obviously heated. So calm down and listen to me.
I'm not heated. No, I'm not heated at all.
But
You won't answer the
just,
question.
just give me a second. So when God,
How do you pray?
When
You know
God,
what?
I'll show
It's
you.
a million
I'll
people
show
in the
you.
comments asking you the same question.
Yeah,
How
but
do you
bro,
pray?
I have a YouTube
You
channel.
biting. What
I
you
have a
doing? You starting
YouTube
with time,
channel.
brother.
I have a
You
YouTube
starting
channel
with
with a
time,
10-minute.
No. Well, okay, that's cool.
I
I'll go
have
to
a
your
YouTube channel with
You
a
tell us how
10-minute
you pray.
video.
Can you tell us how you pray?
You're repeating yourself. You're not hearing the answer, which is showing how much you're so certain in your religion. Yet you haven't faltered me. So what I was trying to explain to you is first the point that you made about how prayer is.
Answer the question.
No, I'm going to answer the question, but you don't give me the space. So you asked me in regards to the two prayers. I showed you by the Quran standard that it's not a prayer. You said to obey the messenger and obey God, and that's how you do it, is by negating what the Quran states. I said, no, now I am obeying the messenger who gave me this message, who said, do not be silent. When it comes down to how to pray, God states that before the prayer, you have to go up and wash your face, you wash your hands, you wipe your head, and you wipe your feet. God tells us that He has given us the Qibla, which is Masjid al-Haram. After that, God is telling you, وَاتْلُ مَا أُحْيَ إِلَيْكَ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ. Recite what has been given to you of the book, وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ, and perform the prayer. So the reading of the book and reciting of the book is indicative of how the prayer starts. And God states, sujudan wa ruku'an. So prostrating and kneeling, these are two also concepts of the salah. God says, وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ لِدُلُوكِ الشَّمْسِ إِلَى غَسَقِ اللَّيْلِ وَقُرْآنِ الْفَجْرِ إِنَّ قُرْآنِ الْفَجْرِ كَانَ مَشْهُودًا وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَتَهَجَّدْ بِهِ نَافِلَةً لَكَ عَسَىٰ أَن يَبْعَثَكَ رَبُّكَ مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا. And perform the prayer to the setting or the declining of the sun to the twilight of the night. That's the first side of the day, which is about a 30 to 40 minute prayer, not a 5-minute prayer. وَقُرْآنِ الْفَجْرِ, the recitation of dawn. إِنَّ قُرْآنَ الْفَجْرِ كَانَ مَشْهُودًا. The recitation of dawn was witnessed. So now you have two symmetrical times of prayer, which is not a 5-minute prayer, but a 30-minute prayer, where you're reading the Quran, you're
30
prostrating.
or 40 minutes. You said 30 to 40 minutes. Which
30
one
to 40
is it?
minutes. It depends where you are in the world, because when you're setting to the sun to the twilight of the night, it's different where you are in the world and whether it's the winter or the summer. So it's a variable time, but it's a set time. And then وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَتَهَجَّدْ بِهِ, and within the night you take it as a way to get closer to God, lest your God sends you to a station that is praised, مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا. So these are the times, these are the length, these are the style, and this is what has to do with the prayer. Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. The prayer, okay, it forbids from obscenities and immoralities. The way that I pray, I don't do 90% of what the Sunnis do, is because I am, as God says, وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ لِذِكْرِي, perform the prayer for my remembrance. So I am completely attached to my Lord, a lot more than my counterparts of Sunnis and Shias, because they have a 5-minute prayer where they talk to Muhammad directly.
Okay, so now let me get it straight. Because you pray longer, right? Because you pray longer, you have a deeper prayer. That's what you just said. Because you pray longer.
The person who gives 1% of his wealth is going to have the
just
reward.
like you
No,
just
I'm not
told-
listening because
just
I
like
need
you
to
just
finish.
told me.
You said a point. Let me answer you. The person who gives 1% of his wealth is going to
Yeah,
get
I
the
said-
reward of
I said
1%.
something 10
A
minutes
person
ago,
who's
you
going to
still
get
didn't answer.
2.5% of his wealth, he's going to get 2.5% of the reward. A person giving 10% is going to get 10%. If I'm praying 30 minutes a day, I'm going to get a better result than you. Yes. A person going to the gym for
Suppose you're not concentrating in your prayer.
then that's a problem with you. It's not a problem with the word
No,
of
but
God.
listen, you literally just said the minutes count.
No.
Don't move. You moving the goalpost, bro.
No,
you
I'm not moving the goalpost. You're making edge
I want you to
cases.
hear yourself. Listen, you literally just said because I pray longer. This is what you literally just said, bro.
Yes.
You
So
literally just
if
said
a person,
And
if
when
a
I
person,
bring up Kusur, when I bring up Kusur, now you want to move the goalpost.
here's the thing.
Yeah,
So
you're
if a
right.
person,
My Arabic ain't good. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's not good,
no,
but you know what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying. But if a person who's distracted in his prayer, he's not praying. He's just doing physical exercise. So when I said the word prayer, الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. So if there's no khushu', then you're not doing salah. Then you're just performing physical exercise and you're not remembering your God. You're not praying.
Physical exercise.
Yeah, physical exercise. Those people that just want to go to the mosque
guess
and
all
hear
of
the
it. I guess
Quran and
So
hear the
Allah made
Quran
us-
in a language that
so
they
Allah
don't
made us perfect.
understand.
So you never break you 100% concentrating for 40, 30 minutes.
I try
Every
my
day.
best. I try my
Try
best.
your best. There you
Yeah.
go. You try your
Yeah,
best.
it's called
There you
practicing your religion.
There
So
you go.
right now, how you're testing
So
my
you
patience,
just-
I'm practicing my religion at this point.
Listen,
But there's
listen,
sometimes
bro.
I lose my patience.
Listen. Oh, yeah, you lose. Listen.
But here's the problem, Pecanos.
listen.
Here's the problem. I guarantee you, with me and the believers with me, you would see 1 week of us praying and you will realize the benefit. And it would be very hard for you to turn back into your old style.
Well, I swear by Allah, I wouldn't. I swear by Allah, I wouldn't.
Because you probably
Allah
wouldn't keep up.
made me the one that I swear by Allah, I wouldn't. I
You
swear
probably
by Allah.
wouldn't keep up. You wouldn't
I
keep up.
swear by
I
Allah.
have when I went to Medina, I had
swear by
4-hour
Allah,
prayers a
wouldn't.
day, bro. At
I
night.
would. I swear. I swear. I pray Allah takes my soul before I ever give up on the Hadith. I
Have a
pray
nice
Allah
day,
takes
bro.
my soul.
Have a
I pray
nice
He
day.
takes my soul.
Have a nice day,
Wallahi.
Have
So
a nice
listen, let
day.
me ask you. No. I got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
I got a couple of. This is what
You
you
sound like a
said.
Christian.
You said. Yeah, it sound like a Christian. Yeah. You sound like a non-Muslim.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Hey, what does it mean? Assalamu alayka ya ayyuhan nabi, or Assalamu alayka
Hey, listen,
ayyuhan nabi.
listen. I got a
You
question.
say that in
for
your
you.
prayer, don't you?
Listen.
Yo,
All right, so I want to ask you something else that you said. You said something about 100 lashes, right? You said something.
Isn't that in the Quran?
Huh? No. I never said it wasn't.
All right,
I
cool.
never
Just
said
making
it.
sure.
I never. Listen,
I'm making
I
sure.
never said it wasn't. I'm just
making sure.
asking you if you let me finish my question, please.
Please.
I never said it wasn't. It is, in fact, it is. You said something about 100 lashes in your example about the adultery, right? That's correct. Can I get these 100 lashes? Can I beat this person in the face, genitals? Can I do that any way I want to?
What? That's
you heard what
this is the same question I get from certain Sunnis that, hey, God says that it's permissible for you to beat your wife, so now you want to super slam her and choke hold her and beat her up because you're going to reject the whole.
I'm not even. That's not what I just even asked you, bro.
No.
Not at all.
No,
Not
you're
at all.
saying that. Can I kick him in the balls? Is what you said.
Yeah, wherever. Can
Yeah.
I do it however I want to?
No, because God is
Why
telling you
not?
to whip him 100 times.
Why not?
Because you have
Why
to
not?
whip him 100 times. You want to whip him
Yeah,
in the
can I
balls?
do it? Can I do it in the face?
Well, there's no hadith that tells you you can't.
Can I do it in the face?
There's no hadith that tells you you
Can I
can't.
do it in the testicles? Can I do it?
Sure,
where?
if that's how you want to
I'm
slash
asking
him,
you.
sure. Brother, if that's how you want to apply it, that's you, between you and your Lord. I wouldn't, because it's obviously on the back.
Why
That's what it
wouldn't
means
you?
to whip him.
Why wouldn't you?
Because the Arabic is clear. But if you
What
want
does
to,
the Arabic say?
فَجْلُدُوهُمْ jald. So now I am lashing him. Jald would go on the back. Something that's known.
He said, so the Arabic says lash him on the back?
No, the word jalad, it understood as someone being lashed in the back. Do you want to lash him in the face? You go right ahead.
Why would I do that? And it's saying the Arabic is clear and it says on the back. Why would I do that?
Because the word is understood as jalad, where
And
you're
the
whipping
comments
somebody
mean
in the
skin.
back.
In the comments,
But-
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit there and lie to you. I don't know. I don't know Arabic like that.
I know you
see
don't, but I
some
have a
brothers that
question
say
for you.
skin.
Well, 1 minute,
No,
1 minute.
listen, let me finish this
Stop
point.
running, stop
No,
running.
no,
I'm
I don't
asking you
wanna go
about
any
this
further.
point. You're
Let me
running.
finish this point.
Picanos, one
No.
second. The
I
problem is you
see
just keep
multiple
going and you
comments
start
in here.
waffling. Let
I
me
see
answer
multiple
you.
comments in here
Let
where
me
people say
answer
gel
you.
means skin.
Hey.
It says- I
Well, the
see
comments are
multiple
telling me to
comments
kick you
mean
out, bro. All
Yeah,
the
but
comments
it
are
says
telling me to
means
kick you
skin.
out.
Yeah, because they like you. They
No,
like
it's not
you.
because they like me. It's because it's difficult to have a
But
conversation with you.
Does it mean skin? Does it mean skin? Yes or no?
What?
This is what the
فَجْلُدُوهُم
comments
doesn't
are
mean
saying.
skin.
The Arabic word it says jowl means skin. This is what a lot of comments
No,
are saying.
فَجْلُدُوهُم means whip him, bro.
J-A-L-D.
Yeah, it's because we're using the leather, and the leather is the skin of an animal. That's why we call it jild.
Okay, so
فَجْلُدُوهُم
what it
means
means
you're
skin,
whipping
though.
him
I'm
with
looking at
leather.
comments, it means skin.
No.
My point
Bro,
for bringing
have
this
a
up,
nice
brother.
day. Have a
My
nice
point for bringing this up is
Yes, I know your point. Your point is the Quran is
Yeah.
not sufficient and it's not actually
No,
clear.
it's
But
not.
the
No, it's
Hadith is
not.
the one
No,
that
it's
is going
not.
to clarify it.
No, it's
right?
not. No, it's
It's
not. That's
not?
not my point. No, it's
Okay,
not.
so
Wallahi,
what's your
it's
point?
not.
Guys, watch. Watch.
That wasn't
Bear
my point.
yourself.
My point
Bear
was this
yourself.
right. My point was this right here.
Bear
My
yourself,
point was
please.
this. Can I finish?
Yeah,
My
bear
point was
yourself.
this right
I'm
here.
waiting.
Now, if I was to listen just by that, I would be harsh, hit him in the balls, hit him in the face, wherever the case may be. Prophet, the Quran tells us how to pray. I would never, ever in my life discredit the Quran. But I'm telling you, Prophet Muhammad give us ways and lessons to do things. So
Pecanos.
just listening to you, and I'm almost done. Just
Cool.
listening to you, and I'm just listening to you and other people that I know just follow the Quran and whatnot. You're
filibustering. Can I answer you?
If it's a woman, I can just beat her in the vagina. Why not?
Listen
but
to me.
we all know that Prophet
Pecanos.
Muhammad sallallahu alaihi
Let me
wasallam
answer
gives
you.
us ways to do things.
Let
That's
me
it. That's
answer
what I'm
you.
saying.
Let me answer you. So what you're trying to explain is that because the Quran, according to you, is ambiguous, that you need this other book to limit what God has said. When God says in the Quran that it's detailed on knowledge, that it's clear, that there is no ambiguity, that it's a straight book, that it's a detailed book. You're saying that that's not the case with you. Fine. And then you went as far as saying that the Prophet is the one who taught you how to pray. But when I'm going to ask you about your prayer, you're going to realize that you're talking directly to the Prophet. Would the Prophet order you to talk to somebody other than God in your prayers? Yes or
I
no?
don't even know where you got that. I don't even know how you got that.
Well, I know because you don't
I don't know how you
listen.
got that.
You don't
Nah,
listen.
you don't listen and you run away. That's what it is.
How did I run away? So I
Run
asked you
away.
earlier,
Because you still haven't answered my original question. How do you pray?
I
You
told
still
you.
never answered that.
I told you
How
all
do
the
you pray?
verses, and you listened, and then you ran away, and then you went
No,
back
I
into
didn't.
Pecanos. I'm gonna have to
Hey,
move to the
listen,
next
may Allah
person.
guide you though. May Allah guide you. I
You
wouldn't
as
even
well.
give you the slims. May Allah guide you, bro.
Appreciate you.
May Allah guide
All right, just let's not hit people in the vagina, please. Damn. You literally give them the verses and they just don't listen. Stop.
Yeah, bro. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Are you Sunni or Shia?
Yeah, so I listen to you, the other guy, and you. What's the argument? You know, I just don't understand. Are you argument for the Asr and Dhuhr is just quiet? You don't say loudly. That's your argument.
Salman, are you Sunni or Shia?
I'm sorry.
Are you a Sunni or a Shia?
I'm Sunni, alhamdulillah.
Okay, sure. So, when you pray Asr and Dhuhr, right?
Yeah, Asr and Dhuhr, yeah.
You're quiet in congregation. Jama'ah, you don't say it out loud, right?
Yes, you're right.
Okay, so why does God say here in the Quran, وَلَا تَجْهَرْ بِصَلَاتِكَ وَلَا تُخَافِتْ بِهَا وَابْتَغِي بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ سَبِيلًا? Do not be loud in your prayer and do not be silent with it, but seek a middle way. So why are you silent?
What surah that I in?
سورة الإسراء آية
Read
110.
again. Read again.
In Arabic or English?
Arabic.
طيب. قل ادعوا الله أو ادعوا الرحمن أيما تدعو فله الأسماء الحسنى ولا تجهر بصلاتك ولا تخافت بها وابتغي بين ذلك سبيلا. Do not be loud in your prayer and do not be silent in your prayer. Find the middle find the middle way. Why are you silent in your asr?
Wallahi, brother.
God
Can
knows,
you
huh?
hold on? Do you know that tafsir hold that ayat you're reading?
Yeah, there's 3 tafsirs, but it goes back to the salah. So why are you silent in your salah?
No, I'm gonna answer that question. I know the salat, two salat asr and dhuhr. We usually quiet, right?
Why?
We don't because the Prophet Muhammad say, as the other guy left told you, the Sunnah and the fourth Khulafa.
What comes number 1? Brother, what's number 1? Quran or Sunnah?
Quran.
So why are you putting Sunnah number 1 here? When the Quran said something and the Sunnah is saying something else, you take the Sunnah, not the Quran. Why?
Okay, so who's the tafsir from the Quran?
God is the Mufassir.
No.
Inna alayna
God-
bayanahu.
yeah,
It is
the
upon
Jibreel-
us to clarify. Inna alayna bayanahu.
Yeah. The Jibreel
علم
bring the
القرآن.
Quran to
الرحمن
Prophet
علم القرآن.
Muhammad. Yes, and Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam told us the tafsir. So if the Prophet
Where?
Muhammad told us the tafsir,
Where's Tafsir Muhammad?
where's the tafsir Muhammad?
Yeah. Where's the exegesis of Muhammad?
Because the Imam Shafi'i and Imam Malik.
That's Shafi'i
and-
Malik. No. This is
Hold on,
Tafsir
hold on.
Shafi'i, Tafsir Malik. Where's
I'm
Tafsir Muhammad? There's no Tafsir Muhammad.
No, okay, listen. We wanna. What are you, Shia or Sunni?
Me, I'm not Sunni, I'm not Shia. I follow just the Quran. Alhamdulillah.
Oh, so you are Qur'ani. So that's
I
why
don't
you
like
are.
that word.
Okay, you don't like that word.
That's
Okay,
not a right
so
word.
hold on. Okay, I'm gonna.
Was Prophet Muhammad Qur'ani?
Prophet Muhammad is Qur'ani? Yes.
Okay, you buried yourself.
No. The Prophet Muhammad.
You
He
follow
read the
just the
Quran.
Quran, right?
Yes, he followed the Quran.
So why
But
do you follow Bukhari?
no. The Bukhari is the Hadith. Is the
Of
Hadith
who?
Prophet Muhammad said. If the
Okay.
Hadith is Sahih, we follow because the Prophet Muhammad say the Quran. Prophet Muhammad, the Quran tafsir. Prophet Muhammad told us, so we have to follow everything is Prophet Muhammad told us. So I'm not Sheikh. I don't know, but I know it. The Imam Shafi'i and Imam Malik and all Imams, they tafsir. They have seerah. They have the all the interpretation of the Quran. So that's why I don't think so. No problem in quiet when we pray in the Asr.
But God says, right?
Okay.
وإذا ألم تر إلى الذين أوتوا نصيبا من الكتاب يدعون إلى كتاب الله ليحكموا بينهم ثم يتولى فريق منهم وهم معرضون. Have you seen a people, they were given a portion of the book and they're invited to the book of God to judge between them, and then they turn away like defiantly. So I'm telling you now, let's use the book of God to judge whether you're right or wrong. And you're saying, no,
Okay.
I don't want to. The Sunnah says I have to be
So-
quiet, I have to be quiet. When God says don't be quiet,
it's okay.
the book of God,
It's
خلاص.
okay. Yeah, it's
حطها
okay.
طرف.
So no problem. So let me ask you one question. Last question I'm gonna ask you.
Please ask the questions, I'll get some cookies.
Are you okay? Come back.
No, ask your question, I can hear you.
Yeah. So do you don't believe the all Prophet Muhammad his hadith?
No, I don't need it for me to be a Muslim. The hadith,
you don't-
أحسن الحديث, as God says, the best of hadith is the Quran.
Okay. So you just staying with the Quran only. That's it. You don't need a
Alhamdulillah, as God says in the Quran, تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق فبأي حديث بعد الله وآياته يؤمنون. These are the verses of God we recite to you in truth. So in what hadith after God and his verses do they believe in? So which hadith do you believe in? Bukhari or Muslim?
Both of them. Why are you laughing, brother? No, if you pray quiet, it's not that bad. If you pray loud, it's not bad. I think it's okay. But what I'm telling you, the Quran you're reading now is Prophet Muhammad read before you and told us read it and follow my Sunnah. So you don't follow the Sunnah, Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam?
Where does it say to follow Sunnat Muhammad?
He said that, brother. He said that.
No, Muhammad didn't say that.
Okay,
Because
Quran say that.
The
Okay,
Quran
say
doesn't say that. No, the Quran never says anything about follow my Sunnah. The
So
Quran
Quran don't
says,
say follow the Muhammad
Quran
alayhi
says
salatu
this,
wasalam.
وَنَهْدِيَكُمْ سُنَنِ الَّذِينَ خَلُوا مِنْ قَبْلِكُم. And God is guiding you.
Prophet Muhammad including the Rasul.
Yes.
واتبعوا الرسل. ها.
Where does it say Sunnat al-Rasul? It does not mean to follow the Sunnah. Okay?
So Quran, okay. Quran don't say تبع الرسول.
And it says أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول, and it says فاتبعوني يحببكم الله يغفر لكم ذنوبكم. And Surah Ghafir, right? As I say this many times, the surah called Forgiver, there was a man يكتم إيمانه in Fir'aun. He was concealing his faith from Fir'aun. He said to his people, فاتبعوني أهديكم سبيل الرشاد. Follow me. I will follow you, I will show you, or I will guide you to the way of righteousness. So what does فاتبعوني mean here means? Does he have hadith now and I have to wear a white hat and walk in the bathroom with my left foot and eat with my 3 fingers and lick my fingers when I'm done? Is that what it means? Is this what religion is? When I eat with my left hand, because I have running water.
تبع الرسول. That's to say, follow the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam Sunnah.
So man, Habibi, I think this conversation is a little bit too heavy for you. And as long as you're a good person, do your prayers, give what God has given you, and try to be a good person, my friend, okay?
Okay. You too, brother. You too.
Salam.
Allah yahdi us.
Appreciate it, man.
Sure.
Okay. That was a good brother, Salman. That's the first time I asked him. Was the Prophet that Quran? Yes, that's amazing. Ahmad.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Are you Sunni or Shia?
Now,
One second, Sister Muna. I am a person that is taking the Sunnis and the Shias up. I understand that you're already a sister in faith. I have Friday streams for people who want to come and discuss the position. But right now, it's about the Sunnis and Shia. So I apologize, Sister Muna. Go ahead, Ahmed.
I'm born Sunni, but now I've seen very, videos. Now I'm very confused whether, if I'm on the right path, and it's like a very big change in my life now. I'm seeing your videos, I'm seeing other people's video, and I'm just very confused because there's many arguments against people following the Quran only, and there's many arguments for it.
Yes. So the argument is extremely simple, that we rely on God, as God tells you to rely on Him. There's no need for you to rely on other than God, and whoever relies on God, for they are the winners. The way that guidance work, it's not one day when you wake up guided. It's a process where you start to understand more so on how to be an efficient, God-fearing, loving human being, where somebody who's constantly remembering God. This process is something that you will achieve over time. But as you're growing, the Quran is the only book that's truly telling you what to do and not to do. Because the Quran's verses are so dynamic and they're so subjective to you in your life that when you start to apply them, you become a human being. But there is a basis which everybody knows. You need to pray so that you remember God often. You need to show patience and steadfast, and you hold on to the rope, and you realize that there's a day of judgment. So everything that you're going to do is going to be presented in front of you. There's a scale on that day. The more net positive you do for the world, the better your life is going to be on that day. And the more net negative that you're going to do on that day, the more you're going to find yourself in pain and torment. Because the truth is, God is showing you an amazing way of living. And it's all based on proper love. God is testing you, whether in this world where it's burning around you, are you capable to live as if you are in heaven? Not building and living forever here, but the way that you treat people and the way that you talk and the way that you love God. You know everything around you is going to break, but are you willing to actually live as if it's heaven? So that on the day of judgment, when you go to heaven, you've already practiced. Not to take away from your neighbor, not to insult people, not to think that you're the best man ever. For you that you want to build for God, you want to work. Because God states that he created life and death to test you who's the best worker. To sit and call towards somebody is falsehood. Call towards God, then it's very universal. The tree knows God as much as the ant knows God, as much as you know God. This is truly the common ground. But if you could see, the trees are working together to give you the oxygen you need to breathe. The ants is working together for them to give you that cleanliness that you see on the ground when things are falling, so not everything is moldy. What is your role as a human being? Is to make sure the tree is growing and the ant is fed. Is to make sure your parents are given what they need, and for you to constantly keep calling people towards a single humanity, which we won't achieve because it's not going to be heaven. But we have to work towards that. So all these constructions and lies and falsehood they try to make you is to take you away from the objective. The objective is to be a human being.
I've realized this because I had many conversations and a lot of people they call me kafar because I'm saying because I've lost I've lost two people in my life. Like they will not speak to me anymore because I tell them about I discuss them that what they're doing is wrong, shirk. But
I lost everybody, brother, but I haven't lost God. So those people who want to leave is because they were not supposed to be in my life. Okay? And the people who I've gained along this way, they are some of the best people that I've met. Because when we get into arguments or mistakes or something, as soon as we start to mention God, the hearts, they just surrender. The fear needs to be shown where it needs to be shown, and the peace can be shown, and forgiveness is always on the table. Those are very few in numbers, my friend. The people who truly love God are few in numbers. But there are many people that understand the concept of God, and to a certain limit, they can appreciate it. But they care more so about their tradition. They care more so about their culture. They care more so about their language. They care more so about their nationality, their government, their parents, their family, whatever it is, their business, their Instagram. But they don't care about God, where God is telling you, hey, this guy is black, you're white. There's a common ground. This guy is a male, you're a female. There's a common ground. You're both humans. Why do you need to sit here and start to categorize, to divide, when God is truly the unification process? The reason why Quran was sent is so that the children of Israel, one of the reasons why the Quran was sent, so that the children of Israel can become united. Because God's saying that this Quran is telling the children of Israel what they used to differ in. But the Sunnis and the Shias, they went and started to make more differences and more segregations and more sects and more problems, when in the very beginning it was not the case. And that's why the truth, it flourished so quickly. And that's why it was one of the strongest civilizations in the world. Because they did not have these differences. They welcomed differences. They embraced challenge. This is what life is about. God is telling you. It's not about your comfort. It's about making this world a better place. Sunnis and Shias don't want to make this world a better place. Sunnis want the world to be Sunni. Shias want the world to be Shia. And that's it. And it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, that is true. Because every time I speak to them, they always say, "Oh, my way is right," and then other people, the other sect, they be like, "Their way is right." So
look at this picture.
That's what
Look at this picture I'm putting up front here. I'll put it on my YouTube. Just give me 1 second, guys. You see this image? How simple it is?
Yeah.
And that's truly what happened. Okay? This is truly what happened. Is people started to value things, value other people's opinion as if they don't have the ability for them to as if they didn't have the ability to understand it themselves. But if you let God teach you the Quran, you let the Quran teach you, everyone will be happy as a Muslim. But this is not what we're facing. We're facing something a lot more wicked, where they're telling you the Quran is not understandable. The Quran requires somebody to talk to you about it. The Quran is not for you to know. You have no ability to understand. What's the point of the book?
Yeah, I was thinking because in town that I see that, I go and I see that, people giving the English Quran to people. And, if the Quran was not meant to be understood, why are they giving, the English, Quran to the people when, when they can give, the tafsir, they can give the Sunnah, all this, and Hadith books. So, this was because I was seeing some other people talking about this, and I was thinking a lot about this, that, the Quran is what we need for guidance. But, this other argument that a lot of people say is, Ati Allah wa Ati Rasul, how do we implement this? How do we implement it in our life now? Because back then we can just obey the Prophet, because obey the message.
He was a Rasul.
Because Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was alive. But how do we implement it in our life right now?
Because the messenger left behind you the message, which is the Quran, and God calls the Quran a messenger. By the way, in Surah, I believe Fussilat, Bashiran wa Nadhir. So he's a form.
But it says Ati Allah, which is separate. Obey Allah and obey them. Messenger. So we obey Allah by following the Quran.
Yeah, no, obeying Allah is more than the Quran. Right? The Quran is the message that gets you closer to obeying Allah.
Yeah.
So the thing is about obey the messenger. The messenger is not just Muhammad. Messengership has not been sealed. Prophethood has been sealed.
So how do we know who's a messenger? How do you know if?
Now, this is a different type of a conversation that is a little deeper, but I'm saying that the verse itself is not conclusive to just one man. God states that the angels are messengers. Some people are supported by the messengers or the angels. And at that point, you still have to do Ati'u Rasul. But the Quran itself is a Rasul as well. So obeying, and God says about obeying the messenger, you have obeyed God. So this verse that they keep using, there is a tashabuh in it. There is a similarity with other verses. But when God is always saying Ati'u Allah wa Rasuluh, this is the only verse where he says Ati'u Allah wa Ati'u Rasul, where he makes the distinction. So if the messenger was around and he tells you, bring me a glass of water, that's obeying the messenger. Because the messenger needs water and he gave you a direct command. But this does not mean that there's other books for you to follow. Because even if you, there's a thing that you can really squeeze them with. So they say, obey God is the Quran, right? Listen to this argument. It's very strong.
The word of God.
Because they say that it came from God, so that's obeying God. And then you ask them, is hadith obeying the messenger? They'll say yes. I say, where did the hadith come from? They say it came from God. So you say that that's obeying God, it's not obeying the messenger. It's the same thing as you clarifying the Quran you just did with the hadith. And they go quiet. Because they say the hadith came from God, so it's obeying God, it's not obeying the messenger. It's the same argument.
But what if the people say that it's not, the hadith is not from God, but it's from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, those
Nobody
people
will
have
make
to
the
argue.
argument. Nobody will make the argument. No Sunni will make the
Because I
argument.
used to think in that way. I used to think that hadith was, from the Prophet, and the Prophet was making things explain and how to do things. And
There's many verses that explain that. And I'm actually working on a video that completely annihilates that position. But it depends on the person that you're debating. So it really depends on the person you're debating. If he's going in the verses where it's like, well, he only speaks from inspiration, which was just about the Quran, then you show him that there's times where the Prophet was not speaking from inspiration yet, it was religious in nature. So that argument fails. And then he goes back to Ati'u Allah wa Ati'u Rasul. You already proved to him that obeying the messenger is limited, while obeying God is not limited. The limitation is the Quran. Because God states to the Prophet, right? We have brought down to you the Quran to judge between them what they used to differ. So any judgment is coming from the Quran. And whoever doesn't judge with what God has brought down, those are the fasiqun. So if you're going outside of the Quran to judge, you are now immoral. And then you can go as far as really crushing them. Hadith says, Qala Rasul, right? The messenger said.
Yeah.
So here God states the verse, in a verse, إِنَّهُ لِقَوْلُ رَسُولٍ كَرِيمٍ وَمَا هُوَ بِقَوْلِ الشَّاعِرٍ. قَلِيلًا مَا تُؤْمِنُونَ. It is the statements of an honorable messenger, or it is the sayings of an honorable messenger, and it's not the statements of a poet. So why does God say qawl? Qawl Rasul. Why does God say that the Quran is qawl Rasul? So how do I know what the messenger said? I go to the Quran.
Yeah, because this was a very big dilemma in
brother.
my life since 5 years ago, and back then I left, I completely left Islam, and because I was a very big dilemma, and then what brought me back was
The
the
Quran.
Quran only, people, because I seen a lot of hadith that was very very problematic, and then the Quran is what brought me back. But then also, a lot of people did telling me that you need the hadith and you need all of this to understand the Quran, and there was many verses that the person's name in this person's name in the Quran, the hadith tells the story of what happened. And
they're all line of argumentation that it's easy to answer. But Ahmed, here's my recommendation for you, and I give this to everybody. You're seeing somebody that's been on this path for more than 15 years, okay, close to 15 years. So I am very in tune with what those people say, their argumentations. I've heard it countless times, but I've also practiced the Quran many times. And I've had to experience the Quran in its entirety many, many times. So the channel that you're seeing that is mine is because of many years of work. I tell most people that take this path, for the first 5 years, there's absolutely no reason for you to go try to call people in the way that you see people calling, because it's not going to be beneficial, because yet you yourself is not strong you're not certain the way that you're supposed to be certain and with what the material is saying. So for now, just make sure that you're focusing on yourself, and whenever you see an opportunity to help. But do not make it a purpose for you to go out and try to now solidify the positions for others, because you yourself are not there yet. Put your mask on first before trying to help anyone else. See what I mean?
yeah, this is so true.
And of course, this is just words of advice of somebody who's been down the road.
Yeah, because I've been in this very this journey of being in big confusion for 5 years now. It's good to see that the Quran
Becoming easier.
only. Yeah.
Yeah. But brother, I do have to go to the next caller. I do have a lot of callers. Thank you guys.
Okay. Thank you very much.
God bless.
Bye.
Hello.
You too.
All right. Tell me, bro. Tell me. Tell me what you need to tell me, bro. Are you Sunni or Shia?
Brother, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Are you a Sunni or Shia?
Okay, so do you not believe that Sunnah is necessary?
Depends what you mean by Sunnah, but are you a Sunni or Shia?
I'm a Sunni, brother, but obviously,
Okay, so you mean
for
Sunnah,
me, it's about haq.
Sunnat al-Nabi?
So,
Yes, that's not part of the religion.
do you believe that Sunnah is not necessary to understand Islam?
Sunnat al-Nabi, no, it's not necessary.
What do you mean by that, Sunnah al-Nabi? Like, as in the Sunnah of
Because
the
the word
Prophet?
Sunnah, there's a word Sunnah in the Quran where God talks about Sunnat Allah. You need to understand Sunnat Allah. That is important for religion.
Do you
Sunnat
believe
al-Nabi,
for us to understand, like, obviously in the stories of the Quran, it's about the stories of those who went through hardships. So we need them to understand it fully. Do you not believe that?
wait a minute. If I am reading a story about Joseph, I need Joseph for me to understand what his story
No, but you
was?
need them to like have gone through that hardship. Like,
So chapter
for
12.
instance, yeah. For
Chapter
instance,
12.
right? I don't want to disgrace you and anything, but like, do you ever feel, because like you're bald, do you feel like insecurities?
No.
Okay, so let's say you went through insecurities of your bald hair, and then say someone in the comments who read about insecurities of bald people, who should I like listen to?
Okay, so the person who went through the experience.
Exactly. So I believe that's why we need Sunnah.
Because the experience?
Yeah, because like you can't truly understand something unless you go through it.
So who has the best of
How can you
experience?
teach something that you don't
I
understand?
get it, but I need you to let me answer. So if I go through something, I'm capable of seeing what I went through, right?
Yeah.
Does God know what I felt?
I'm not saying that. I feel
Wait,
like
let me finish, brother. Let me finish.
All right, go on.
God knows what I saw. God knows what I felt. God knows what I experienced, and God knows the reality that I seen. Now I have a book from God telling me the story of Joseph. God himself did not experience what Joseph went through. But God
Yeah,
is
I'm
going
not
to
saying
give,
that.
let me finish, brother. God is going
Okay,
to
go
give
on.
me the best explanation of that experience. So the
Yeah.
majority of the Quran is not telling me the experience of Prophet Muhammad. In fact, the majority of the Quran is telling me the experiences of Moses, Abraham, Jesus, and people like Joseph and David. And the Quran is telling me on how the magnificent God is. There are some stories that tell me what Prophet Muhammad did, but Prophet Muhammad has no idea what Joseph experienced other than what God said. So your point is
Yeah,
moot.
but Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is still part of the Quran. No,
Yes, and
he's
I
still
need
part of
to,
it.
but as much as I need to know about who Joseph is and what Joseph did is in the Quran. That's how much information I have of Prophet Muhammad, and that's
Yeah, but my
sufficient for
point is,
Islam.
if the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is in the Quran and he is part of Islam, right? Why should I not listen to like what he went through? Like
What
if
did
he's
he go
teaching me
through?
something and he went through that, God put him through his test, God making him the last Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, why should I not listen to him? Because
Where do you
he's gone
listen to
through
him?
it, he can fully understand it.
Where do
It's
you
like
go
you
find
have
his
not gone
story,
through
brother? Where do you go find his stories that you need to know about
on the
him?
Quran, the Sunnah,
Perfect. No, brother. Where does it
and
say in the? So
so this is the problem.
Joseph, is he part of Islam?
Yeah, of course,
Okay, and is he also a prophet?
yes.
Where do you go find about Joseph?
I don't know. You go find it because even in the Jesus disciples, people went to find about his
Hello,
stories.
wait. You as a believer, where would you go find the story of Joseph?
But I don't need to. I've got the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the best man who ever lived. Why do I need to go and
Wait a
find their
minute,
stories?
bro. If I'm gonna find out about who
Do
Joseph
do
is,
you believe? Do you
one
believe the
minute, bro,
Prophet?
you're
Do you
negating the
believe the Prophet
Quran.
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was the best creation? Wait. No,
Hello.
answer this. Do you believe the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was the best creation?
No,
Exactly.
neither do
End on that.
you. Neither do you. Neither do you. You see, guys, he dropped himself because he's these people that have absolutely no idea what they say. So when I asked him, where do you find about Joseph? He won't say the Quran. So that I won't say like, where do you find about Muhammad? God states that there was a good example. There's a good pattern in the blessed Prophet Muhammad. And God said that there's a good pattern in Prophet Abraham. And in your own hadith books, it says that Muhammad is not the best creation. So you make lies. You say lies about God. Your arrogance is showing. You don't know how religion works. And you come here riding your high horse. And on the day of judgment, you're going to get humbled, just like how devil gets humbled. Have fun, bro. And they come up here thinking that they got it. Bro, where does it ever say in your hadith books or the Quran that Muhammad is the best of creation? Bring your evidence if you're truthful. Whoa, bro. I swear to God, if this is what you guys think that the best of creation would do and you guys are acting like this, Khalid. Oh, wow. Peace, Khalid. Are you a Sunni or a Shia?
وعلى من اتبع الهدى.
I love when they start with this. Yes, that's what Moses said. Salamun ala man
That's how
ittaba
I
al-huda.
respond to people like you. Exactly.
So you're going to come here and guide me, right?
No. I'm actually not here to guide you because you're despicable. And
I love you,
I
Khalid.
hope that if your intentions are to misguide Muslims as I believe they are, I hope you never get guidance. And I hope you end up in hellfire, inshallah. But anyways, let's start this debate. But I just wanted to make clear that you're a clear and evident enemy to us Muslims. But we'll go
To
ahead and get
who?
started.
To who? To who?
To
1
us
minute
Muslims, yes.
before we start with your stupid rhetoric. I'm calling towards people towards the Quran, and I'm telling people that the Quran is accurate, and I'm telling people that this is the most best book that God has sent you for humanity, and I'm telling you to beware of the day
That's
of
a
judgment,
half truth.
and to
What you're saying is
just
a half truth.
be
That's not
quiet,
all you're saying.
loser, be
That's not
quiet,
all you're
loser,
saying.
be quiet, loser. How am I an
Yeah.
enemy
Go
to
ahead.
Islam?
Insult.
How am I an
You're
enemy to
100%
Islam?
an enemy. We will get to that, but let's
I'm
start
an
the
enemy
debate.
to sectarians. Go ahead, debate me, bro. Show me.
Go. Start. I'm a Sunni. Let's start with your line of questioning.
You're a mushrik.
Go ahead. Start.
You're a mushrik.
I'm not. I believe in one God and only one God. That
So
is
do the
worthy of
Christians.
worship.
So do the
And
Christians.
no, they don't.
They don't?
No, they don't.
They don't say
No.
God has three personas, but he's one God?
That's shirk.
Okay,
Three
perfect.
personas is shirk.
So do you know when God says وَلَا تَكُونُوا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ الَّذِينَ فَرَّقُوا دِينَهُم وَكَانُوا شِيَعًا كُلُّ حِزْبٍ بِمَا لَدَيْهِمْ فَرِحُونَ? Do not be of the mushrikeen, those who sectorized their religions and became factions or sects. Every faction is happy with what they have.
Yeah, you just created a sect. Look at you. You've created your own sect.
Listen.
Look at you. You've created your own
Is
sect.
Sunnism a
So
sect, yes or no?
we are Ahl Sunnah al Jama'ah. We are the original Muslims. We did not
Or how
create a
about we
sect.
were?
This is-
How about we
are
were the original
following
ones? How about we were the original ones?
Jama'ah.
Can you tell me?
You're
Can you
not,
tell me?
because you don't exist throughout history.
Yes, we actually do.
You're not.
We do.
You're not.
Would you like a
So I'm
hadith
gonna
from your
start.
books?
So
Would you like a hadith?
so let's start
Listen,
with,
Khalid.
No.
Would you like?
I
Would
don't
you
need
like a hadith from your
You
books
said-
to show that you have
so
absolutely no
you
idea
don't
what you're
believe in
saying?
Dhuhr. You don't believe in Dhuhr and Asr, correct? Is that what
relax,
you said
man.
earlier?
Relax.
No. Let's go to this point. You don't believe in
Relax,
Dhuhr and Asr,
Khalid.
correct?
You're very منفعل كتير انت. Just relax. Like you're so emotional. Just relax. I have a very easy question for you. What does it mean when Umar bin Khattab told the Prophet, "Hasbuna kitabullah"? Sufficient to us is the book of God. The Prophet said, "Go get me a pen and paper," and Umar said, "No, hasbuna kitabullah." Why is that? Why did Umar say that in your hadith books?
I don't know the context of that hadith, so I'm not going to get into it. Right?
So why are you coming
now
to debate?
let's get into your argument. You don't believe in Dhuhr and Asr, correct? You don't believe in Dhuhr and Asr, yes or no?
I believe, bro.
You believe that Dhuhr and Asr is a prayer of the 5 prayers, so you pray 5 times a day?
No, because you're going to be extra technical, I'm going to be technical.
Hey, how are you?
He has his job right now. 1 second, guys. Give him a moment.
Go ahead. I was
So when
saying
you're saying-
salam to a neighbor. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I gave you your time, bro. I'm not too concerned about you. So when you're saying, do you believe in noon and afternoon? I believe in noon and afternoon. Do you believe that there are prayer? No, there's no prayer during the noon and afternoon.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good. So you don't believe that they're a prayer, okay? What's your proof for this?
God gives you the times of the prayer in the Quran.
Okay, so God gives you the times of the prayer in the Quran, okay? So in the Quran, Dhuhr is explicitly mentioned as a time of prayer.
Nope.
It's right there in the Quran for you.
Where? Chapter 24?
So
He's going to go to chapter 24, where it's not called the prayer. Where he goes, قَبْلَ صَلَاةِ الْفَجْرِ, before the prayer of Fajr, okay, of dawn, and من بعد صلاة العشاء, after the صلاة العشاء, وعند تضع ثيابكم من الظهيرة, from the noon. He doesn't say the salat.
it's actually chapter 17.
Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
so you got it wrong, not 24.
No. This is where you're going to embarrass yourself even more. That's why. That's one of my favorite verses that they go to. Yeah. 17, and then which verse? وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ لِدُلُوكِ الشَّمْسِ إِلَى غَسَقِ اللَّيْلِ وَقُرْآنِ الْفَجْرِ.
78, verse 78. Okay.
Watch, guys.
So it clearly states.
Right.
So it clearly states that at the decline, أقيموا الصلاة, at the decline of the sun. When does the sun decline? When it passes its zenith. The zenith is the highest point in the sky, and that's when the sun begins to decline.
The word duluk
So
can
there's
have two
dhuhr right
meanings.
there.
No, the word, it doesn't say dhuhr, it says two meanings there.
Yeah,
Duluk
you just
is
got cooked. You just got cooked.
1 minute,
You're going to sit here
relax.
and give me 2 meanings? Go ahead. What are the 2
Liduluk
meanings?
shams, as you're saying that it's the decline and it can mean the setting of the sun. And 1 second, it says liduluk shamsi ila ghasaq al-layl, from the setting or the decline of the sun to the twilight of 1 minute. Liduluk shams.
Not from. It's at.
Two. Liduluk shams. Liduluk shams.
It means at.
What does it mean? Luduluk shams.
At the decline of the sun.
Alhamdulillah means
That's
the praise
literally what
at
it
God.
means.
At God, when I say Alhamdulillah, it means praise at God. Liduluki shams. Yeah, la. You know, lam, lillah. Liduluki shams.
No.
Listen. Relax.
What does it mean?
Relax.
What does that verse mean?
Relax.
How is it translated everywhere?
Well, you're asking me a question.
How does every scholar translate it? So tell me, liduluki shams, what does it mean?
You need to relax, because even in Tabari, if you look at the Tabari and the exegesis of Tabari, what I'm about to tell you is present there too. So don't need to cry too much. لِدُلُوكِ الشَّمْسِ إِلَى غَسَقِ اللَّيْلِ. It includes the decline, but it does not specify that it has to be the zenith. So the decline of the Shams could be the decline from where it is settings, where Maghrib is part of Duluk al-Shams, إِلَى غَسَقِ اللَّيْلِ, which is one time. If I'm going to understand it the way that you said it, that means that I'm going to pray from noon all the way to the twilight of the night, which is a 6-hour prayer.
No,
So when God
that's
says,
not what it says.
yes, it does. لِدُلُوكِ الشَّمْسِ إِلَى
No,
غَسَقِ
no.
اللَّيْل.
Okay. Okay. This, guys, I'm going to show you how he's doing. What he's doing with this verse is exactly what he did with another verse with Picano. Okay. With Picano, he brought up a verse
Which
that
one?
talks about how to recite during prayer.
Right.
Right. That's what he came up. Okay. Now, Mr. Genius, what
Thanks,
was
brother.
asbab and nuzul for that verse, and what context did that I'm not your brother, bro. Don't ever call
Three
me
of
your
them.
brother.
You are my brother.
When was that verse? No, we're not brothers.
Yeah,
That
we are
verse,
brothers.
what was the context in which that verse came down?
We're brothers because even
What's the
Noah
context?
had brothers around him that they got destroyed, which you will be. So in the context that you're speaking
What's
about,
the context?
in the context that you're talking about, Asbab and Nuzul, there's three. So the one that they're saying that is the most authentic is that they were insulting them. So God,
When were they insulting them, and who was insulting them?
When
Who was
Quraysh was
insulting
getting
them?
drunk at noontime, they were insulting God in the Quran and they were insulting the prophets, so they went silent. But now Quraysh is not around and nobody's drunk around you.
Hold on. That verse came down because the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, which I haven't heard you say alayhi salatu wasalam yet, by the way, which is very interesting and telling about you. Now, the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, okay, he was leading congregation prayer in Mecca, reciting out loud. The mushrikeen, which inshallah you will be gathered with on the day of judgment, were making fun of him. We're making fun of him, okay? They were making fun of him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came down and said, do not recite loud to where they have the ability to make fun of you, but still recite in a manner that allows those praying behind you to hear you. Okay? That's the context of the verse.
Perfect.
So you, sir,
no. One second.
are a loser. You just
killed yourself, bro. I hope you come back up. I stopped you just so that you be quiet. You literally said so that the people behind you can hear you. Okay? Go invite again. I'm going to bring you back up. I was meaning to put mute. I kick. But make a request. I'll bring you back up. You literally just said that it's for the people behind you to hear you. That's the context of the verse. Don't be too loud so that the Quraysh, the mushrikeen like you, don't hear you. But the people behind you should hear you. You in your Dhuhr and Asr are quiet. The people behind the Sheikh cannot hear him. So please come back up. You're so minfa'al. Keep making mistakes. Please come back up. Guys, isn't it the best you guys have? This is the best you guys have? He goes from like one verse to the other and then he like keeps flipping, falling. Khalid, come back up, bro. I love like the passion that you have. He goes, he was going to bring me together with the mushriks when he's the mushrik. Come on, bro. That was good, bro. Come on, please back up. I'll give him like a minute. Maybe he got really upset. But you see what he said? He said so that the people behind can hear you. So don't be too loud and let it be loud enough so that the people behind you can hear you. So why doesn't the guy who's leading the prayer during the noon and the afternoon doesn't allow the people behind him to hear him? I mean, you really buried yourself. Like you guys have no exit to this. It is not a prayer. It cannot be a prayer. It's not substantiated by the Quran. When God states to you, وَأَتِمُّ الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ, right? Right? Let me show you. Where is it? It says ثُمَّ أَتُمُّ الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. Okay? Fulfill the fasting until the day. If it's multiple times of fasting during the day, from the break of dawn until nighttime, right? Then that means you could break your fast and then fast again and then break your fast and fast again. The word ila signifies the duration. When God says أَقِمُوا الصَّلَاةَ لِدُلُوكِ الشَّمْسِ إلى غسق الليل, it does not mean that there's separate prayers. It means that there's one prayer. If you are so keen that it has to be noon, right? I wish you're still here, bro. You are like the people that I love. You guys are so munfa'ilin with ignorance. It's not even funny. Nah, he's not coming back up, I guess. But yeah, so when God is clearly telling you, أقم الصلاة لدلوك الشمس إلى غسق الليل, and you want to say it's noon, so you're saying that you pray from noon إلى غسق الليل, which means the twilight of the night, which means now you have like a good 6 hours, 7 hours of praying, right? The way that Sunnis pray. 2 minutes, Allahu Akbar, that's what you guys do. That's what prayer to you is. Please have a nice seat somewhere else, bro. Boom. I wish I pressed the wrong button. Wallah, I pressed the wrong button. I wanted just to mute him. Go, Adam.
Salam, brother Muhammad, you okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you one thing, brother. You've got a lot of patience, I tell you that.
You have to.
SubhanAllah, like, oh, that's a lot to handle, I can't lie.
I forgot. We have to beat the devil while we're praying. Let's not forget that. We have to
Of
circle
course,
our
you
finger
can't forget that part.
because we got to beat the devil left and right. Right? So they whip the devil every time, 5 times a day, and they throw rocks at the devil when they go to Hajj, and the devil is locked up during Ramadan, yet they are some of the worst people that I have to interact with.
It's crazy, man.
Make it make sense.
SubhanAllah. Anyway, no, nice to meet you, man. I've been waiting to talk to you for a while, to be fair.
Nice to meet you, Adam, but I believe that you're already a believer, right?
I am, but all this is, I've been trying to get answers, and I can't find anyone to give me the right answer, but I know you're, alhamdulillah, very intelligent in this.
Thank you, bro. So what's up?
So you made a video on your TikTok about Iblis, if Iblis is an angel or jinn, because obviously in Baqarah where Allah, he's addressing the angels, and obviously he says except Iblis, but then in Surah Al-Kahf, I believe it is, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says he's certainly jinn. So I'm just wondering
he says kana min al-jinn. So if you go to chapter 2, God says وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ أَبَى وَاسْتَكْبَرَ وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. So we have told the angels to prostrate to Adam. They all did except Iblis. أَبَى وَاسْتَكْبَرَ. He refused and he became arrogant, and he was of the disbelievers. So was he always a disbeliever?
Well, yeah, exactly so.
So when God says kana min al-jinn, it's his judgment on the day of judgment. Kana min al-kafirin is the day of his judgment on the day of on the day of judgment. If you go to chapter 7, God tells you about the guy, he gave him signs. But the guy, he detached himself from his signs, right? And he wanted to stay in the worldly life, right? And the devil followed him, and أخلد إلى الأرض فكان من الغاوين. So he was of those who were perverts or immoral. So the word kana min does not necessitate that was always his state. Iblis is a jinn. Iblis gets promoted to an angel. He's among the angels. He's called an angel by God. And we told the angels prostrate. They all did except Iblis. So this exception...
So do you know on that, but from a Quran only perspective, well, obviously you mentioned how he was promoted essentially from jinn to angel. Do we have a verse that says that is something that happens?
This is the one. And the other thing is Iblis himself. You could see that he was promoted because that's the lie he gave Adam. He goes to Adam. He tells Adam, he goes, the reason why God did not let you eat from that tree so you don't become an angel.
Oh, okay. So right? that leads me to a next question then, which I see a lot of debates.
And by the way, there's another verse where God states that if we wished, we would have had angels among you succeeding one another.
Yeah.
So the word angel just means somebody who has dominion or sovereignty over something. It comes from the word milk. So malak al-maut, God controls death, but God has an entity or a process that causes death. And it's only controlled by God, but that process itself is called malak. Okay?
Okay, yeah, that just takes me to the next question. So, I was speaking to another Quran only individual. I forgot his name, but I think you know him. You were on his panel once, where he said, when Allah's addressing Malaik, in that verse in Al-Baqarah, what was it? Malaik fasjudu illa iblis, where Allah's talking to the angels. Is it the fact that he is actually talking to the Malaik, the angels themselves? Because this Quran only individual was like, no, he's talking to creation that is created on earth. But when Allah's talking about angels,
this is interpretations. I don't sit with interpretations because there is the exegesis and interpretation. I don't play the ta'wil game. It's not for me. I have my personal opinions, but it's not something that I would sit and talk to others about, because God states that only God knows its interpretation. I can start talking about evolution and how the Quran aligns with certain things with evolution, and Adam and Eve are outside of evolution. I could talk to how some verses align with Big Bang. This is all interpretation. I don't sit on those verses because it's very dangerous to sit on those verses. God states that nobody knows its interpretation except God. But the people of knowledge know it's all truth from God. So if somebody comes to me with an interpretation where I see the Quran breaks it, then I will retract his interpretation, but I won't give one, because we're not capable of. So if someone says to me like, it seemed to them that Jesus was crucified. What does that mean? God knows.
only Allah knows.
I can give you my opinion, but it does not mean that I know its interpretation. Only God knows how that was done.
So
But that's
in
the
this,
truth.
so in an example of, for example, where Allah says, and the angel, when Allah said He's going to create, obviously creation, and the angels then asked Allah, "Oh, are you going to create people that create bloodshed, etc., on the earth?" So I always was under the belief system that angels can't question Allah. They're only designed for ibadah, for worship. Is
Not
this
all of them.
accurate?
Not all of them. Because God doesn't give us filler words in the Quran. Every word is said for a precise reason. So God states that the angels above hell, or in the ones that are like the keepers of hell, they do not disobey God with a single command. So if all angels don't disobey God with a single command, why would He say that remark?
Exactly. This is what I had problems with, like, sort of.
So
understanding.
certain angels have liberty, where they would question, ask, and understand, because they have a little portion of a free will. But if the second they disobey God and it's not accepted, they're no longer angels. They go back to what they were. There's creatures that were created just to fulfill the title of an angel, like the ones in hell, like the ones filling the throne, like life and death, like Gabriel, Michael, and other entities. And notice, Gabriel is considered an angel, but he's a soul. He's not made out of light. He's a soul. If they say that he's made out of light, whatever. You know what I'm saying? The soul itself is considered as an angel, as a malik, and it comes with the angels as well. So the concept of angels is a little bit more technical in the Quran. It's more nuanced, and it kind of fits the Judeo-Christian understanding of an angel, where an angel can fall. But it does not mean every angel has the ability to fall. That's not what the Quran is saying.
Right. Okay. All right. That clears it up a lot. And and just
by the way, the word iblis, it comes from the word balas, which means it's like even worse than depression. Okay?
Yeah.
Jibril, it comes from the word jabr, which is almost forcing or like revealing the unknown. The word mikal, which comes from kale, which is like the balance, or something that is balanced, fair, okay, just. Now, when you look at the Judeo-Christian narrative of Iblis, his name in there is Azazil, okay? Which if you go back to the Quran, right, there's the word Azza, which means the pride or the might or the strength.
Yeah.
And what does Iblis say to God? بِعِزَّتِكَ لَأَغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. With your might, I'm going to delude them all. And so it would attach that his old name was Azazil when he was an angel, and he became Iblis when he went back to being a jinn. Because when Iblis takes over somebody, they're completely depressed, they're completely hopeless, and they're okay with going to hell. Like imagine you saying to yourself, I'm going to hell, I don't care, I'll burn it all.
Of course, yeah.
That's balas.
That gives good clarity. But yeah, Mohammed, just another one too. Obviously, as I'm more reading Quran, like a big topic you see a lot of is interest, right? Now, from my understanding, obviously, when you read these verses that say, whoever dives in interest is waging a war with Allah, etc., isn't it fair to say that's more targeted at the one, like the loan shark, not the actual victim?
You are not in trouble for paying interest. You're in trouble for eating interest. But you are in trouble if you had the ability not to take an interest-based loan and you took it just because you wanted to take a small advantage. You shouldn't be supporting the corruptors. People who are charging interest are oppressors, corruptors.
Yeah.
You shouldn't go support them. If you have a means not to do so, then you should take that. But if you have no means, there's no harm on you because God is admonishing the one who's eating interest, not the one who's paying interest.
Yeah, this is the thing, and obviously you see a lot of videos on TikTok where it's like, you know, oh no, just all interest, you take it out of your life, blah 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 blah, but not giving the context of the actual verse. You know what I mean?
That's the Sunnism style. But you should be avoiding interest with as much as you can. But you're in trouble with God, and you're at war with God and the messenger if you're eating.
For your own gain, basically.
Right, you're oppressing people. It's hugely oppressive, compounded interest.
Of course.
So here's a very good example. This world we have is based on interest. So now the world owes, what is it, like 34 trillion? Who do we owe it to? Who do we owe it to?
Exactly, that's exactly.
Who gets paid? And there's not enough money in the world to fulfill that debt. So
exactly.
We're so far into debt that literally the only thing that you can do is have a war and to erase that debt.
Yeah, but basically, yeah, it's crazy.
But that's why interest is crazy. But now this is for the whole world. Imagine a single individual in that situation where the debt is just so extreme that he's done.
Yeah, no, somehow that's true. But yeah, that clears that up. And also, just to know, do you know how obviously when it comes to wudu, for example, like we obviously Allah tells in Maida how to do.
But last question, Adam. I don't want to be rude, bro. I usually.
Oh, sorry,
my
brother. Yeah, no, last question.
Yeah.
Last question. When it comes to what invalidates the wudu. So, for example, people say when you fart, right, or you pass wind, etc., whatever.
I would accept that as accurate because God states that if you approach defecation or going to the bathroom, right,
to relieve yourself.
Yeah. So for me, when you fart, it has some small particles of defecation in it. So again, this is my understanding of me trying. الذين يسمعون القول ويتبعون أحسنه. Those who hear the words and follow the best of it. But someone can make the argument that is not defecation and therefore it's not applicable. I would say that he's also correct, but I'm trying to be as loyal as I can to what the word is saying.
With the words itself.
Yes. So this is the beautiful part about the Quran is when somebody does present that information in the way that he presents it, I won't say that he's wrong. I just want to be a little bit more cautious.
Yeah. Okay. No worries, bro. Muhammad, I'll let you go. It's been emotional, but you enjoy the rest of your challenges on here, inshallah.
Yeah, that's it.
Take it, brother. Salam.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I have room for one more caller. Okay. So this needs to come close to an end because it's, as you guys see behind me, it's close time for my prayer. For لِدُلُوكِ الشَّمْسِ إِلَى غَسَقِ اللَّيْلِ, the declining of the sun to the twilight of the night. And that is quite an extensive prayer. It's about 30 to 40 minutes where I'm at right now. And with that said, I have room for one more caller. I apologize. The queue is full, okay? And I love that people are so eager to call me a mushrik when I'm not a mushrik. And they're so eager to say that their position is correct when it's wrong. And they're so eager to teach me my religion when they don't know what their religion is. So, with that said, let's see what's next. TikTok. Guys.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Are you a Sunni or a Shia?
I am neither. I don't profess neither Sunni or Shia. I am a Muslim according to the Quran.
So you're a Quran alone, or do you also take Hadith?
No, I reject Hadith.
Okay, perfect. Peace be upon you, brother. But I need to find me a Sunni and Shia before I go. So I apologize, bro. And God bless
I
you.
have questions for you.
I know, but
I was watching you for more than 2 hours, and you forced me actually to start looking for everything you're saying to check. So I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Do you believe that Abu Bakr, Umar, and Ali and Uthman were companions of the Prophet?
What I believe is whatever good that they did is for themselves, and whatever bad they did is for themselves. I am not obligated. I don't need to know who they are, and I am not obliged to know who they are. From what it seems like in the history and what people has written down, they seem like upstanding people, but I cannot testify to that because I have not witnessed that. But by the records, it seems like they're good individuals. That's all I can say about them.
Okay, me too. I agree with you. So Abu Bakr, at one point, he led the Muslims in prayer, correct? And he prayed 5 times. So you're saying that you reject Tawatur Salah all the way till today. So you're saying Abu Bakr and all the people who led the prayers during the Prophet's times, the Messenger's time,
So
were
I want
wrong?
to show you something from Muwatta Malik, since you want to go down into history, okay? So I'll go to Muwatta Malik from sunnah.com, okay?
Mhm.
And I'm going to read something for you from that Muwatta. So to you, it's just because you've read about it 2 centuries after Abu Bakr and everybody, because they're not the ones who wrote those books, nor that they authored those books, and those books came out 3 or 4 centuries after everybody that you're talking about.
Yeah, I agree. Sirat, what's his name? Ibn Ishaq came 40 years after the death of the Prophet. I agree.
Okay, so we have now a report from Yahya, related to me from Malik, from his paternal uncle, Abu Suhail ibn Malik, that his uncle's father, which would be now the great-grandfather of Malik, Sahabi, he said, ما أعرف شيئا مما أدركت عليه الناس إلا نداء بالصلاة. I recognize nothing nowadays of what I saw the people, which is the companions of the messengers, doing except the call of the prayers. So by the time Malik was alive, right, his uncle, the companion was telling the tabi at this point that I don't recognize what these people are doing except the adhan. Everything else seems like it's been changed. So the tawatur you're talking about, it does not necessitate that that's the messenger that gave you. That the tawatur came from the people who are from Quraysh.
I see. Okay, I have another question for you. Do you believe
Last question,
that...
though, please.
Yeah. I'll let you go to have someone you can argue. This was very educational, to say the least.
I know, but this is how I educate people, is through these arguments. On Friday, I have the room open for anybody who has, it's an open forum for people who want to ask questions. Yes.
Do you believe that the messenger Muhammad, peace be upon him, was the seal of all messengers?
Seal of prophets.
So how do you interpret...
Hello? How do I interpret what? Whether you...
How do you interpret اليوم أتممت عليكم دينكم ورضيت الإسلام لكم دينا?
So when God is saying that today I have fulfilled to you my ni'mati, my blessings, and I have completed to you your religion is complete. But the messengers come to clarify that religion again to you. The messenger comes to warn certain people before they're supposed to get destroyed. And this is clear in chapter 7, right? And I'll show you a verse in chapter 7 where God says multiple messengers.
Yeah, but a messenger by definition is someone coming with a message.
The messenger is coming with a message, not coming with a curriculum. He's not coming with a shara. He's not coming with minhaj.
Right.
He's not coming
No,
with a
messenger
book.
comes with a shara. The only 2 messengers that came with a shara is Moses, and messenger Muhammad. That's why we don't call Isa messenger. We don't call Dawood messenger. We don't call any of the other prophets.
So is Harun a messenger?
No, he's not.
God calls him a messenger.
I know that he calls Musa a messenger, and Harun
Because
is he speaks on his behalf.
God states, قُولَا نَحْنُ رَسُولَا رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. We are the messengers of God, duality.
Okay.
إن هو إلا مثل لبني. Okay, and Isa was called Rasulullah. قد خلت الرسل من قبله.
That's not calling Isa Rasulullah. And Harun, when the only reason he was called in companion with Musa is when he sent them both to Pharaoh. They were in that particular sense being sent to speak to Pharaoh. But the messenger who came with the code, the Jewish code or the Hebrew code, was Musa. He was given the 10 Commandments. So we see here that each messenger comes with the law. Muhammad, peace be upon him, came with the law, right? Now you're saying that there will be a future person coming with a law too.
Maybe no. In the word, your definition of messenger is flawed. I'll show you what I mean.
Mm.
Okay. So this is so this is Jibril, or sorry, an angel talking to Maryam. He said, قال إنما أنا رسول ربك لأهب لك غلاما زكيا. Do you see how the word Rasul there was used?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not the person that's bringing you a minhaj.
Mm.
Yes.
He came carrying the word with him. That's why he was described as a messenger.
Perfect. So somebody who's carrying the word of God is a messenger. This is what
The
my
word
point is.
meaning
Yes.
the Ruh Isa, the soul of Isa. That's
Bas-
the word.
So, okay, but God calls Aaron Rasul. Shu'aib was called a Rasul. Hud was called a Rasul. Lut was called a Rasul. Okay? Ilyas was called a Rasul. So it's not just a person who's bringing a minhaj. It's a person who's carrying a message of God.
I see. So I see.
This is in the Quran.
I see. Okay, I'll let you go so that. But
So I
just
can go pray.
you mentioned that at one point that Shaitan or became an angel at one point.
No,
How
no.
although yeah, that's impossible because it says in the Quran, Shaitan was created of fire and angels are created from light. You're saying that he transformed from fire to light. Is that what you're saying?
Where does it say that angels are made out of light? There's no verse that's saying that the angels are made out of light. And plus, as my good brother Anas is saying, you have a dog in your house, so you don't have angels in the house now if you're a Sunni. As Sunnis say, no. Of course you have angels in the house. News TikTok, are you there? Ba-ba-bam.
Just looking up the.
Yes, there's no verse saying that angels are made out of light.
I'll have to look. There are the jinn are made out of fire.
Jinn are made out of fire, but angels do not have what they're made out of in the Quran.
Oh, it doesn't have. I'll have to look it up. I'll let you go. Go get someone to fight with. I'll keep
No, I
following.
have to go pray, but I wanted to, see what people had to say before I go. But I appreciate it.
Okay. But as for the dogs, God makes miracles in pure animals, and God did a miracle with the dog in Surah Al-Kahf. They are pure animals.
Good.
Yallah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. All right, guys. It's time to put the boxing gloves on. Who wants to fight me? There's a guy that said that he was a Salafi. Last person, last caller, because I do have to go pray. Last caller. Actually, you know what? Never mind. I have to stick to my word. That was the last caller. That states, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, why do you not do what you said? I did say that was the last caller, and it is not fair for me to break my word or TikTok or YouTube. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where this live comes to an end. I appreciate everybody that came. Now, as you guys know, the background has changed a little bit. I have an empty hole behind me. I'm going to be setting up a new studio again so that I can start pursuing this further, because we have a few plans with the Muhammad from God channel. And I know people like to make fun of my name, but it's just because you don't understand what I'm trying to say. Muhammad from God simply means that I came from God and to him I will return. Because God says we belong to God and to him we return. People still don't understand. I'm not saying that because God says that we belong to him, that now I am from him. No, God says that to him we return. So if we're returning somewhere, we came from somewhere. So we're all from God because we're returning to God. And God owns us, so we belong to God. And the truth is that if you recognize that you came from God and you're going back to him, then everybody's your brother. Everybody's your sister. All these animals are also coming from there. These trees, these skies, these everything is literally coming from him. Us as human beings, we have something that is a little particular, a little unique. It's the soul, the spirit inside us that gave us the spark for us to be able to recognize God and for us to have free will. But we belong to God, and to him we will return. So because we're returning to God, we came from him. So I am Muhammad from God, and you are also from God. And if you have a problem from that, and if you think it's like an arrogant statement, or if you think it doesn't belong to you, then you're the one who's arrogant. I told you, you came from God, and the person in front of you is also from God. Maybe we should find the peace and the common ground. If somebody hates God, then there's your enemy. All praise to you, God. All praise to God and peace to you guys. All praise to God and peace to you. And I appreciate you guys stopping by. These have been successful streams by the permission of God. But as I said earlier in the streams, it takes a lot of time for you to allow God to teach you what you need to learn. Just like how a tree grows to be what it's supposed to be in its state that it's in, you as a human being, when you plant those seeds of submission, you have to let them grow. When you're certain, they can come yell at you, and your certainty overcomes. So all that said, all praise to the Lord, Lord of the worlds. Peace be upon you guys. And time to pray. Asna! Bye, YouTube. Miss y'all. Inshallah, this Friday we'll be back. Peace, guys. Peace, man. I appreciate it.